This is Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News, broadcasting live worldwide from Knoxville, Tennessee. So, welcome to the show. Welcome. Thank you all. So, we have broadcast to over 1.5 million people in the past about 3 months. So, evidently, independent, unbridled news is kind of important to the citizenry. So, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, a lot of really interesting, important things. If you've seen the screenshot, we're going to talk a little bit about the death penalty because it's in the news today. Tennessee's going to get a little justice today. They're going to execute somebody at 10 o'clock in Tennessee today. And after 37 years of free health care, free food, free hots in a cot, we're gonna get, the family's gonna get a little bit of justice. They got free health care. Did you get free health care? A man that murdered somebody, raped and beat a 20-year-old, Karen Poley, was murdered several years ago. So finally gonna get a little justice after 37 years. Welcome. Let me show you the victims that are important of these heinous murders in the state of Tennessee and all over the United States, people going without penalty. So welcome. Come on in. Charles Van Morgan Show. Broadcasting from Knoxville, Tennessee. We're broadcasting early today, hoping to get the early crowd. So thank you all so very much for joining us. Let's look at the victims of these heinous crimes and get on with the show. Welcome. Thank you all for showing up. We're going to show you the victims that are important. The criminal is not important. And you probably won't even hear me mention their name because they're scumbags and have forfeited their right to live, in my opinion. Welcome, Charles Van Morgan. So the victims of these heinous crimes is Karen Poley, Colleen Slimmer, some of them. There's many more, but these are some of the ones that happen in this area. Shannon Christensen and Christopher Newsom. These are victims. Their murderer is still alive in the state of Tennessee. Colleen Slimmer, her murderer is still alive. Her murderers, plural. Several people took part in a brutal murder. It wasn't just a little quick thing. It was a brutal, painful, suffering murder. If you can think through that, and you need to think through that because it could happen to you, and the murderer gets free health care for life. They get life. A death sentence is life in prison. It's not a death sentence. And this lady here was killed in Tennessee. Wherever your state's at, justice is going to be served today for Karen Poley after 20 years. So Shannon Christensen, Christopher Newsom, and there are many other people murdered in Tennessee. If I'm leaving the names out, I apologize. Colleen Slimmer, who was killed here in Knoxville. And this lady's killed in Tennessee. Her family's gonna get a little justice today. Karen Poley, 20 years old, in Nashville, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Welcome. Come on in. We're gonna speak a little hard truth today. Unbridled news. I'm not held down by the false, fake narrative of the fake corporation news channels, and we're going to talk today about independent news and how the corporations, even local, are losing viewers and respect for them is diminishing. And also we're going to talk about the death penalty. Look at the screenshot and talk about how they get free medical care for life practically. I mean, it takes years and years before justice is ever served, if it ever is. They usually die in a hospital with nurses waiting on them and taking care of a murderer, and the murderer got brutally murdered, and you try to go to the hospital and there ain't one open, but they get free health care for murdering somebody for pretty much life. And we're going to talk about the immigration issue. There's a Knoxville police officer may be in trouble for enforcing the law from the upper echelon of the administration. I hope not. We're going to talk about immigration a little bit. We're going to talk about freedom of speech. There is a University of Tennessee professor that's in trouble for speaking her mind. And I don't necessarily agree with everything everybody says. That's why I don't listen to it. So we're going to talk about freedom of speech and maybe a few other things. Very interesting show today. So hang on board, watch, and we'll cover a lot of these issues going down to our office, the Henley Street Bridge, a beautiful sight, because we're not allowed in the courtroom because the crooked, dirty government won't allow us in the courtroom. So we have to speak the truth out on the public sidewalk, and it's getting out. So if you trust the judges, if you trust the judiciary, if you trust the government that's keeping people alive for years and years after they brutally murdered their family, then you might want to turn off this show, and you might want to listen to the regular broadcast, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, all those news channels, because I'm going to tell you a perspective of boots on the ground, what really happens. I'm not trying to sell a narrative. I'm telling the truth as I see it from an educational perspective, and hopefully you agree with me. If you don't, at least consider my First Amendment right and what I got to say. It might be a little educational to you. So I have a little interesting, truthful perspective. Thank y'all. Come on in. Charles Fan Morgan Show. Unbridled news. Welcome. So let's talk about the execution today that's going to take place at 10 o'clock. Justice finally done in the state of Tennessee after 37 years. 37 years. The man that murdered Karen Poley, and her family's victimized. She was victimized, brutal murder, raped and murdered. How worse could you do somebody? Beat, not just shot, I mean beat brutally. Beat up, left on the floor, laid on the floor, dying for hours before somebody found her, took her to the hospital. She later died at the hospital. And you need to think about that. You need to think about that, because that's reality. That's reality. That's the truth. And if I had some pictures, and I got a picture of the 20-year-old lady from Chattanooga that got murdered. Let's see how many people got in here. We'll continue with the dialogue. Thank y'all for showing up. Like, share, comment. And so yeah, today at 10 o'clock, we're going to see justice served. When somebody murders somebody in a brutal manner, beyond any reasonable doubt, legally, ethically, and morally, this state in Tennessee, a lot of places all over the United States of America, they keep that person, give them free food for life. I mean, you might as well say a death sentence is not a death sentence. A death sentence is a life sentence, because they don't do a death sentence within a usual, normal, average lifetime. If you can, so it's not a death sentence. So you brutally murder somebody, you're guaranteed free TV, free meals every day. You don't miss a meal. You won't miss a meal. And if you get sick, now you brutally beat somebody and raped them, took their dignity, and did the worst, most heinous things that you could do to a human being, beat them to death, a horrible, violent murder. I mean, you think about being done that way, and the anger. I mean, when somebody hits you, have you ever been punched or hit or something? The anger that you feel, or mistreated by somebody, the anger that you feel toward that person for what they've done to you. And the worst thing you can do to somebody is what the state of Tennessee has tried to do to me. They've tried, they sure have. And I can prove it. Is the worst thing you can do is take somebody's life away from them. You take everything they have and everything they're gonna have. That's what Clint Eastwood said, when you take their life away from somebody. In the movie where he was a hired killer. You take everything they've got. And even hired killers, they do it quickly and try not to make the person suffer and do it as quickly and efficiently as they can. You're talking about brutal murders in the state of Tennessee. This man in Chattanooga, Tennessee, this wicked, evil, corrupt, dirtbag scum forfeited his right to live, brutally murdering somebody, raping them. And think about the anger that you would feel. And this person, instead of trying him efficiently, giving him a fair hearing to prove his innocence, giving him free attorneys, free benefit of research and investigations. I mean, he doesn't have to pay for all this stuff to prove he's innocent, try to prove he's innocent, try to prove a lie. When he's stone cold guilty, when he did all this heinous stuff, and we pay for giving him a fair shot at it if he ain't got ain't got a dime in America. We pay for all that to let him have a fair chance. We don't go on witch hunt to prove he's innocent, and give him more money than you. If you get accused of a crime, even a felony, you don't get money from the state to do all these investigations. You get a quick trial, and if you don't have money, you get a state-appointed attorney. But they're so overloaded, it's unreal. And you commit a murder, even a mass murder, and take people's lives away from them, the most precious thing that they got on the planet, and they get years and years and years of the best legal defense that your money can buy. You pay for their defense, and they get all kinds of money to present a defense, to do investigations. They got private investigators that run around for the lawyers that you're paying for, that run around to try to make sure, uncover any evidence, to try to trick the system, to try to get them out of their heinous murder, while the innocent victim was brutally hit, brutally murdered, knocked down, beat, suffered for hours and died. And then 37 years later, that man, if he got sick, he got to the hospital. He went to the hospital, got medical care, while he beat somebody in the head and made them suffer. He didn't give them any medical care, didn't care. That lady, Karen Pulley, suffered for hours laying on the floor in blood before somebody found her, took her to the hospital. She died later in the hospital. And he spent 37 years on your dime, your attorneys, and been protected. Nobody couldn't hurt him. They couldn't climb in his window and rape him. They had guards there, jail cells. Your money's protecting him. And he lived for 37 years after the murder in a protected prison with full medical benefits. And you think about that. What's going on in the news today? Americans are about to lose medical insurance by the thousands and millions all across the United States of America, because Congress is not acting to either extend health care for us that haven't murdered anybody. I've never killed anybody. And millions of Americans never hurt anybody, but we're not going to have medical care. So a murderer that beat somebody to death, beat them to death after they raped them, brutally, violently raped them, and made them suffer, had full, complete medical benefits for life. And right now in America, in just a few days, your medical care is probably going to end because our Congress, they act. People say, well, they don't act. They're not. They act. Yeah, they do. They act for themselves. They got medical care. They act very well for themselves. They're public servants, aren't they? Right. Yeah, they don't act for you. They act. The government works well for them. Works well for them. But it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for the mass populace all over the United States of America. The death penalty in the state of Tennessee doesn't work for us. It works for them. They keep people in jail away from them. They haven't murdered one of their family. They could care less. Their system is so corrupt. The reason that they don't execute people in a timely manner is because they don't want to do their job. Because it's difficult to execute somebody. That's a hard thing to do. They shouldn't run for office if they don't want to do that. And because they know the system is so flawed, they know they lie. Their lies are so blatant. We're going to show you some of their lies today. We're going to show you, spelled out in paper, under oath. I'm not just hypothesizing. I'm not just guessing. That's what they say about you. We're guessing whether or not somebody committed a mass murder. We're guessing about whether somebody's convicted of murder. Then when it comes to executing, they say, well, let's just wait. I mean, I know we convicted them based on false evidence, but let's just wait because we guessed in the first damn place. That's the burden of guilt against the citizen. Your burden of guilt is guessing. They guess whether or not you're empty. They flip a quarter, whether or not it's in their interest to execute you or whatever. And that's the reason why they don't want to execute people, because they're not sure. Because they know their system of injustice. And I'm going to show you their system of injustice with real facts under oath, where they lied about stuff under oath. And do they lie about stuff under oath to convict people? Every day on a routine basis. It's just normal. It's automated. You know, that automated system that signed Joe Biden's name that Trump talks about, that signed his name to documents that passed approved legislation and approved executive orders in the White House. He said that Joe Biden didn't really think about it. It was an automated signature. They do that in America in Tennessee courts. These Tennessee judges, they literally sign it, but it's automatic signing stuff for the government. It's not looking into stuff and making sure it's constitutional, making sure it's valid, making sure somebody really committed the crime. It's an automated system of injustice. That's what they do in America. It's an automated system of signing papers that benefit them. It works well. They don't have to think about it. Their conscience is seared. If a Tennessee judge thought he'd get a little bit of a promotion for signing an execution warrant, they'd sign it in a second. They wouldn't even think it's automated. They ain't got a conscience. Their conscience is seared. Unbridled news. You won't hear it anywhere else. I'll show you. I'm not just hypothesizing. I'll show you facts. I'll show you blatant, outright, perjured court testimony that a judge automatically signed off on, and even added more stuff, more lies to it. It's not even perjury when a judge does it. A judge has complete absolute immunity, so they can lie. They can lie about stuff, add evidence, and it's not any crime. They've given themselves permission, legal authority, although it's not in the Constitution, not by any other branch of the government. The judicial branch of the government has said anything we do criminal is not criminal. They wrote that in the law. It's called complete immunity. They immune themselves. We can commit any law. We can break any law we want to. We can commit heinous acts of violence, disruption, violate the Constitution, anarchy, treason, whatever. As long as we're in the courtroom and adjudicating that, you can't convict us of any crime. We can have people executed, sign death warrants, and it's fine. And that's the reason they don't want to execute people for years and years. They keep putting it off because they know that their court system is dirty as hell. They know it is. So instead of executing somebody, because they're the ones that literally got to do it. So that's a little hard, a little difficult, because they haven't done anything to them, so it ain't nothing personal, and they know the person may be innocent. So they keep putting it off, kicking the can down the road, so let the next judge that comes along after they die be able to administer justice to something they did dirty, and maybe they want to uncover the facts that the person didn't really do it. So that's the point, is these judges want to execute somebody because they know how dirty their system is, and they don't trust it their damn self. Otherwise, if they knew somebody murdered somebody and somebody in their family, and they did it like they did Karen Poley, one of their family members, they'd put that person down as quick as possible, and you'd see them get executed about 5 years. But if they knew they did it, and it's somebody in their family, but it's a member of the mass populace, a member of the population, and they just got to put up a facade of justice. Oh, they'll do it. We're getting around to it. And behind closed doors, we don't even know if they did it. And let's just make the other judge, after we pass along, do it, because we don't want to do it, because we don't want to put somebody to death. We don't even know if they really did it. I mean, I know we adjudicated that. But our adjudication, we really know how they are. They're about as fake and crooked as a dog's hind leg. Unbridled news, you won't hear that anywhere else. It's the truth. I speak the truth. It's not a lie. They lie in their court rulings. I'm going to show you today, written down on paper. All these TBI, FBI, all these Knoxville County Sheriff deputies are monitoring my Facebook accounts and monitoring what I say. Let me show you some of your own lies. Oh, you don't want me to say that, so let's go get him. Let's go arrest him. Let's go knock him down, beat him up, put him in the hospital and in jail because he's telling the truth about us. Yeah, right. Go ahead. About 1.5 million people watching you. I'm not lying on you. You're lying on the public. You kept a man in jail for 37 years after he brutally raped and murdered a citizen. That's what I care about. I care about the citizenry. I care about you. I care about the population. They don't care about you. They could care less about you. They care to keep you alive enough, to keep you pacified enough, to keep you happy enough, to keep working very hard to give them everything you have, to keep them in their mansions, in their fancy cars. Have you ever seen a government official in a Ford Pinto? Have you ever seen a government official in a older model Toyota Corolla? They look at the cars they drive out of that city county building. They drive Beamers and real fancy equipment while they keep signing papers to put off executions years and years. But they brutally murdered my family. How dare they do this? I don't want to do this because I'm not sure that they really did it. And it's not nothing personal to me. I know I'm supposed to be a government servant. They didn't hurt none of my family, and I don't want to do it. That's distasteful to me. I'm not going to do my job. If you think I'm kidding, that's exactly what they do. 37 years from the time of a brutal murder and rape to maybe, if something doesn't happen, a lawful, justified execution of a guilty man that forfeited his right to live on the planet. That's what I believe. If you disagree with me, you can say that. Go ahead. Go ahead, but I've got a right to believe what I believe. And the side that doesn't believe in executions is winning. They're winning. They're keeping these people alive for a lifetime. A death sentence is not a death sentence. It's a life sentence. It's a life sentence with 3 meals every day, guaranteed, no exceptions, unless the government runs out of money. And they won't run out of money. They'll keep taxing people. Free security. They got armed guards in there protecting them every day. Nobody hurts an inmate on death row. And they have 3 hots in a cot, TV, read stuff, get letters, get fans. A wonderful life. Now, it's a little different life, but it's a wonderful life. You ain't got to worry about anything. You ain't got to worry about the power going out. You ain't got to worry about getting cold. You ain't got to worry about somebody beating, raping, and murdering you. You're all fine protected. For a life. For pretty much a life. If you get sick, they take you to the hospital. You get nurses giving you medicine, and they make sure your temperature's right. This is after you brutally murdered somebody, took their life and made them suffer. You won't suffer. They give you pain medicine if you're in pain. They got to give you medical care. Cruel and unusual punishment is outlawed. As long as you're alive, as long as they delay a lawful, justified execution, they got to take care of your ass. They got to take care of your worthless, sick, pathetic people. And they do for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. But today we may have a sign in Tennessee of a little semblance of justice. And that's why it doesn't work, because and that's why I'm pointing it out. Because we're talking about 37 years ago, this man did this heinous act. And punishment that's delayed, people don't tie it together. People don't tie it together. He murdered that lady 37 years ago. 20 years old. Lady in Chattanooga. Climbed in a window. Brutally raped her. Brutally murdered her. Made her suffer. And I'm going to keep saying that because that's what's true. He dies after a life lived, notes written. Could have wrote a book. Could have got a bunch of friends. Got a whole entourage. Had a beautiful life. Wonderful life. A little bit different, but still wonderful life. A lot of things you have to worry about, he never had to worry about after he did this heinous act. And free medical care that you're getting ready to lose in a few days. And he dies a peaceful death. The least, and it's been litigated the hell out of. I mean, it's a big issue of how suffering painlessly, we've litigated this, spent probably millions and millions of dollars on how easily that we can put him to death so that he doesn't suffer one iota. How dare we as a civilized society make a brutal murder suffer? I mean, we can't do that. That's against the Constitution. No, it's not. No, it's not. Put him down. Put him down. Where is the firing squad? That works pretty well. Where's the firing squad? Where is the gas chamber? There's all kinds of ways we can put people down. We don't need to intentionally do it brutally, but we don't have to spend millions and millions of dollars figuring out and holding things off so we can figure out what's the least likely way that we can cause them any minute amount of suffering after they've done this horrible criminal act of brutality against an innocent citizen. And our government officials are in control. They're in control of the levers. They can pull that lever, put them down. We need to. They forfeited their right to live. Give them a priest. Let them have time to make their life right with God. A murderer in the Bible, it says all murderers, liars, and there's a litany of things that people won't go to heaven for. They will not enter into heaven. You murdered somebody, you're not going to heaven. You're not going to heaven if you're unforgiven. An unforgiven murder. Now, God can forgive. That's the greatness and the mercy of God and mercy of Jesus Christ. A forgiven murderer will go to heaven. They will. Give them a chance to get their heart right with God, but they forfeit their chance. It's not safe for human beings on the planet to live with these murders, these awful, horrible, criminal people, life in prison, with medical care, and they die. Usually, they don't get the death penalty. They usually die in a hospital bed with pain and natural causes. They live out their full life that they haven't allowed an innocent citizen to do. Live out their natural life in a hospital bed, dying of natural causes in comfort and in peace. And maybe they have made their heart right with God. That's between them and God. Unforgiven murder won't go to heaven. I said that to a gentleman one time, very nice man, that murder, it says in the Bible, murderers won't go to heaven. And he corrected me, justifiably so, because it's true. I don't understand the mercy of God. I know he's merciful. He forgave me. I haven't murdered anybody, but any sin will get you into hell if you're not forgiven. But there's a litany of sins that God talks about that will get you into heaven. One of them is murder, but it's unforgiven murder. That man corrected me. Unforgiven murder won't go into heaven. But they have forfeited their right to live on the planet, to live in the United States of America. And it makes it more dangerous for society as a whole. Deterrence needs to be 37 years away. That's, you murder somebody, you get a life in prison, free medical care, free food, honor, notoriety. That's the reason why I mentioned that murderer's name. I'm not going to, hopefully, because they don't need the right to be mentioned. They're not important. They're scum. They're useless, sick, pathetic people. And God can forgive them. That's not up to me. But they live a fancy life, pretty much, get benefits that me and you don't get because our government doesn't act to protect the populace. And there's no deterrence there. There's no deterrence. You could reasonably decide that you were tired of somebody or a group of people living, and reasonably decide maybe you don't have health care. Maybe it's not, your life's not beneficial to murder people, and you would be better off getting a life sentence in prison. So it could be beneficial. So the deterrence is not there. People rationally make that decision. Even if I do get executed, it'll be after I live a long life. So it's not practical. Deterrence theory works against it. The answer to that and the cure to that, and at 10 o'clock, it's a good day. Thank the Lord God in heaven. That man may go to heaven if he's forgiven. I don't know. I don't know his heart. But we don't need him on the face of the planet. And it should have been done. Should have been done years ago. Within 5 years, they can execute people and give them a right to have a just and fair trial and be executed, rather than allow the society, people in government, to continue to endanger the American public by putting off death sentence for years and years, because, number one, they don't trust the system, and nobody's hurt the people in government service that actually serve themselves, so they're not willing to pull the trigger. They're not doing their jobs because they don't trust the system. And the other reason is because they haven't done that to them, and these public servants don't care to serve the public. They say they do, they lie, it's a facade. They care to serve themselves. If they wanted to serve the public, they'd care about deterrence. They'd care about making the public safe. They got plenty of money to protect themselves. They got plenty of resources to make sure that they don't get murdered. They got bars over their windows. They got 2-story houses. They got all kinds of security measures. You don't. They're not going to get murdered by these thugs. They're well protected. They're above us. And it doesn't help them for deterrence to work like it should. And let me make sure I don't fall down here. And that's just the damn truth. So like, share, and comment. So today at 10 o'clock, I'm going to praise the Lord. And I'm going to put it out that it did take a while. It did take a while. But it wasn't served appropriately. It wasn't served appropriately, but justice has been served. And there's other people in this very city right here, and in your state, and in your country. Think about people who have committed these atrocious acts of violence against humanity, who have forfeited their right to live, forfeited their right to live on the planet, and it makes it safer for every one of us for them to be executed as fast as legitimately possible after a fair trial, a fair hearing. And we're not going to get any fair hearings until we get rid of this crooked justice system in the state of Tennessee. These judges are so crooked. And I'm going to show you, we're going to get to the bridge, and I'm going to show you some lies under oath about government officials. Plain out, spell it out, in writing, undeniable, but still goes to this day. And that's why they won't execute people, because they know there's people innocent, probably on death row, and they don't want to do it because they don't trust their own system, because they know their system is full of lies. They meet in private meetings. The judiciary in Tennessee meets in private meetings that should be open to the public. I'm not talking about meetings where they sit around and discuss cases. The courts are supposed to be open. I'm talking about meetings where they sit around and discuss strategy. There was a journalist that I believe it was in Nashville, David Tullis, and kudos to David Tullis, a man after my own heart. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with his agenda, his First Amendment rights, is trying to protect the public. He was arrested for trying to attend a meeting, should be in a public meeting, but for the judiciary in the state of Tennessee. They put him in jail for trying to record and trying to put out what these judges are trying to have in a secret meeting in Tennessee, and he was literally put in jail. Judges are trying to have a secret meeting to discuss strategy, I believe, to discuss public corruption. They ought to be having meetings to figure out how they can speed up the execution process to make Tennesseans safer, but they don't care. They had police all around their meetings. You try to hurt one of them, you'll be put down really fast. You want him to get a trial, they'll shoot you and kill you. You try to record their dirty. A journalist, America, supposed to be freedom of the press. That's in the First Amendment Constitution, freedom of the press. There's no freedom of the press under this judiciary. They stomped on the Constitution. They literally, soldiers fight so that we can have a press, so we can shine a camera and light on what they're doing in these dirty courtrooms, these nasty, sick, pathetic Tennessee courtrooms, these nasty, sick, pathetic Tennessee judiciary. They're nasty and sick. They left a man on death row that's brutally murdered somebody for 37 years. That's pretty nasty and sick. They're not worried about it. They hadn't killed him. They don't even know if he's guilty or not. They don't care. Auto sign for the governor. So I'm not saying he's not. I think he is. And we can't even shine a light. Independent journalists and news channel can't even shine a light on their dirty conversations they have. They want private meetings. What's the matter? Something you're saying to each other in private in meetings that should be public that you don't want the public to hear? What do you got to hide? What do you got to be afraid of? They literally arrested a journalist. Look it up. They arrested David Tullis for trying to record a public meeting. What were they going to say in that public meeting that they don't want me and you to know? They're going to say a lot. I can tell you a lot of stuff. They cover up fake judicial hearings. They get and they strategize about how to keep themselves in power. They don't strategize about how to protect the Constitution. Soldiers fight for our way of life. Soldiers fight for the Constitution so that people can live under a government that honors people's individual rights against the government. And they fight for our way of life. And these judges don't care about soldiers' blood. They step on soldiers' blood. When you see a Tennessee judge, look at them and think, are they one of the judges that doesn't care about soldiers that have fought for individual rights for the Constitution? Do those judges care about people's rights? Do those judges care about soldiers that have shed their blood so that person has a right to freedom of press? Obviously, the Supreme Court in the state of Tennessee doesn't care about the First Amendment, freedom of the press, because they literally said, we don't care that soldiers have fought for a journalist's right to record in here to see what we're doing in private, that the public needs to know. We're public officials. We adjudicate for the public. We have power, and it should be open to the public. Soldiers fight for freedom of the press. And these Tennessee judiciary in the state of Tennessee, I said, we don't care about soldiers' blood. They died in vain. We'll trample on their blood. Their blood means nothing. You cannot come in this meeting, even though soldiers said that freedom of the press, First Amendment. We don't care about the First Amendment. We care about our power. Get out of here. You're going to jail, Mr. Tullis. That's what they did in state Tennessee. Look it up. David Tullis was arrested for trying to attend a public meeting of the Tennessee judiciary all over the state. You're not allowed to film them. They don't want to know. They don't want you to know. They don't want us to know what they're saying. Why would they not want us to know what they're saying? If they're honest and upright and putting out truth, adjudicating fairly, being honest and upright. They claim they are in their rulings, and I'm about to show you some of their rulings where they're not fair. They're a bunch, Tennessee judiciary is a bunch of dirty liars. They don't care about the First Amendment. I got a First Amendment right to say that, to say what I just said. They've already put me in jail for saying that. I got a right to not believe that Tennessee judiciary is fair and adequately. I think we ought to vote every damn one of them out of office. I got a right to say that. I should have. I got a constitutional right. Soldiers fought. They stand in front of me saying he can say that. You can't stop him from saying that. You don't have to listen to him. You don't have to agree with him. You don't have to believe him. You don't have to do anything he says. But he can say that. He can say that. He can tell you who he thinks you ought to vote for and who you shouldn't. That's protected in this country. That gets freedom of speech out where some people might agree with him and vote on his side. And maybe he's telling the truth and what he says needs to get out. And the whole world and people in the United States and Tennessee need to vote according to what he says. He's got a right to say that. If he's not telling the truth, then there's a counter argument. The government can get up, and they do all the time, and speak against it, say this is not true because of this. And so you need to vote for us. You need to vote for us. It's called the marketplace of ideals. But the Tennessee dirty judiciary in the state of Tennessee says that I don't have a First Amendment right to say vote them out. The dirty Tennessee judiciary has said that I don't have a right to run for public office. They have. Because the Tennessee dirty judiciary has said that we don't have a right to leave information on people's doors, that they use your tax money to mail it to their doors. So they have said we got a right to disseminate information all over the United States to people's doors, and we're not even paying for it. You pay for it. Your tax dollars pay for our propaganda, your false information. Your tax dollars pay for it. But if one person with a cell phone, this is why people don't believe that corporate news, because they're funded by corporations, and corporations, judges benefit corporations. So corporations aren't going to say nothing about the judiciary. That's on their team. They're on their team. They're destroying America, destroying independent businesses. The Tennessee judiciary is all over the United States. You ought to be mad at the Tennessee judiciary. I'm not saying hurt them. See, that's what they don't like. They want me to take that step and say hurt them. I'm not saying hurt them. I'm a Christian. I don't believe in hurting anybody. I believe in going to the polls and voting them out. That's what I believe. See, they don't want me to say that because they know if I wake people up and tell them the truth, that people will start voting. And these people will be out of a job. And people won't live on death row for the rest of their life with 3 hots in a cot, the TV, writing books, reading books, having a happy life, going to the doctor when citizens can't even go to the doctor. You look in the news today, Congress, and the wind's blowing, I want to speak up, Congress is about to not act for them. They not act for us. They act for themselves. They're not worried about it. They've got medical care. You look at these Congress people. I mean, look at the facts. They live till they're in their 80s and 90s. How does that happen? They take really good care of their health. No. Some of them smoke, drink like fish, and some of them have horrible lives. And the vice president smoked two packs a day. The one that got us in a foreign war. They had him in the news the other day. He died in his 80s, I think. How do you live to be 80 smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day? Because Congress don't act for us. They sure as hell act for them. They get the best medical care in the world. They're acting well for them. They're public servants. No, they're not. They're self-servants. They're self-servant lying thugs. And they're going to live good, fancy lives with the best medical care in the world on your dime while you can't go to the doctor. And murderers that they allow to stay in prison for their life are going to get medical care. Maybe not as good as they get, but they get sick, they go to the doctor. And just in a few days, it's up before Congress right now to extend the Obamacare subsidies that helps provide health care for people that can't afford it, people that work hard. That's not socialism. That's leveling out an unfair system. That's leveling out their socialism. There is socialism. That's why they need health care subsidies, because there's socialism at the top, because they get all the benefits. And that's socialism. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. They haven't worked for it, don't own it, take vacations, have all kinds of money, auto-sign false opinions, and you won't even get health care. You don't even get health care. In a few days, they're not going to even sign legislation. They can't agree about Obamacare subsidies. The Democrats want the subsidies signed. The Republicans want to give people a tax break to improve health care, to make people be able to afford it. And the truth is, poor people don't get tax breaks. They don't make enough money hardly to be taxed. It's not going to matter to poor people. The system needs to be leveled out from their socialism. Their socialism, people say you're a socialist. You want to help poor people and take away from the rich. No. That's a fallacy. I want to stop the rich people from their freedom, from their socialism, because they get something for nothing. The billionaires are getting something for nothing. That's the socialism. They're being given your hard work. You work for it. It's not socialism for somebody that works hard every day to be able to go to the doctor and get medical care, and it be partly you can call it subsidized, but it's really not subsidized. It's given back to them what these rich people and their socialism steal from you. It's leveling out the system to take away part of their socialism is what it's doing. That's a fact. And if people wake up, there's more of us than them. Let's take away their health care. I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't do to them what they're doing to you. I wouldn't do to them what they're doing to you. I'm a Christian. I wouldn't take away their health care. I wouldn't do that. I'm a Christian. What I would do is make them pay for their own damn health care. Make them get a real job. Make them really serve you and subsidize, take their socialism that they've stolen from you and give it back to hardworking citizens and give them medical care. That's what I would do, and that's fair and that's right. That's not socialism. So we're going to point out at the bridge the lies of the Tennessee dirty, sick, pathetic judiciary. You won't hear that anywhere else. Charles Van Morgan Unbridled News. And I would get mad at the judiciary, mad as hell, and let's vote them out. We got some elections coming up in 2026. Vote them out. Send them on the road. That's what they do to you. They don't care about you. Show them you care about them. You care enough about them to stop their gluttonous, pathetic acts. You care about them enough to make it a safer world for everybody. Because they're self-serving, pathetic, won't even let the news media broadcast, independent journalists broadcast their dirty that they do behind Americans' back. So thank y'all for joining me. And we're going to talk about immigration. Evidently, police officers can't enforce immigration laws. And there's a reason behind that. It's so these powerful power mongers can stay in office. We're going to talk about that. And hang on, we're going to show you the evidence of courtroom lies under oath by government officials. Imagine that. They can't show you any lie I've ever made under oath. Not one lie can they ever show. And they say I'm dishonest. They say I'm dishonest. I've never lied under oath, not one time. Not one time have I ever raised my hand and said, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Not one time have I ever committed any perjurous act. And I can show you where they've committed perjurous acts and stamped the weight of law on lies. It must be the truth if a judge ruled it the truth. If a judge ruled it the truth, you read a Tennessee opinion, court opinion, it's probably the exact opposite. Probably the exact opposite of what they're saying. See, I don't present you with that idea. Look at their opinions. Listen to their court opinions. What they say is fact and the evidence they give. And think about this. They won't tell you this. Freedom of speech. I can say this. Freedom of speech. Think about, maybe it's the exact opposite of what they're saying. You ever thought about that? Maybe they're lying to you. Maybe what they're saying is not true, that they've got a separate agenda. They've got some kind of benefit from what they're doing, like they're putting somebody in jail and they say they committed a crime. And so they're adding, maybe they've added facts. Maybe they say that their fingerprints was on the gun. And they say that. And you think, well, they got to be guilty. The fingerprints on the guns weren't fired at. But maybe they put the fingerprints on the gun. A Tennessee forensic scientist would do that. A Tennessee judge would adjudicate that. That's a lie. They sure would. They do it all the time. Every day across the state, judges lie. Unbridled news, you won't hear that from the corpse. The court news media gets money, favors, rulings by these judges. Of course they're going to say they're honorable judges because they benefit them. They don't benefit you. They're not going to do a damn thing for you. Maybe they get money when they put somebody in prison. You know, these corporations that own prisons, they get money for each head that goes to prison. Maybe these judges are adjudicating to put you in jail because these corporations that pay them get money. You ever thought of that? Maybe that's independent journalist news. I'm not a corporate person, that propagandist that's going to tell you the judiciary is good, because they're not. They're dirty as hell. Vote them out. So we're going to show you the evidence of Tennessee judiciary, how they lie and how they back up liars, and then add to it, and we're going to show you some court testimony under oath, documents, their own documents. See, the problem with them is, if you read their court papers, they leave a damn dirty, nasty trail of lies and betrayal of the mass populace. So get copies of this stuff and take it to your voting booth. And when you sit down to vote for these judges, say, I'm not voting for you. Hell no. Look what you did right here. It's right here in black and white, you dirty judge. You're not adjudicating over me. You're a dirty judge. So we're going to show you that. Getting down to my office, because they won't let me in the office of the courthouse, because they don't want a truth teller in the courthouse. They want a liar that backs up them, that covers up for the judiciary. But I'm not going to do it. I appreciate what soldiers did, gave me the First Amendment. They sure as hell don't appreciate it. They want me dead. Already put out a hit on me, beat me up, and put me in the hospital. Speaking out against them. I got a God-given right to speak out against them, and I damn sure will. And we're going to talk about immigration. They want immigration laws so that they can get votes. They don't give a rat's ass about immigrants. They give a rat's ass about their votes. And we're going to talk about health care, and we're going to discuss a freedom of speech case that's going on right here in Knoxville, Tennessee, the University of Tennessee. That's in the federal court system, so it applies nationwide. It can in the Sixth Circuit. And you might be surprised at my opinion on that, because I agree with freedom of speech. People ought to be able to say what they think and believe, even if it don't agree with what I think and believe. I wish the government was that way. They're not. They want you to shut up if you want to vote them out of office and tell people why, because you might be telling the truth. Welcome. Come on in. Thank y'all very much for showing up. Welcome. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. If you like the show, if you like the show, then subscribe and like and help spread the message. The message is a message they hate. They hate it. People in government power, the judiciary in Tennessee hate it. They hate voting. They hate freedom of speech. They hate the Constitution. The Tennessee government hates the Constitution. People in government in Tennessee, the judiciary hates the Constitution. They've literally adjudicated against the Constitution. They have. They told me I don't have a right to freedom of speech. They say it's not unlimited. It's not unlimited. I get that. Freedom of speech, but very few limitations on the freedom of speech. They don't tell you they want to exploit the limitations. They're big, so nobody can say nothing at any time unless you agree with us. If you agree with us, it's unlimited. See, they have unlimited freedom of speech, and they literally do have unlimited freedom of speech. The judiciary can say any damn thing they want to, and they have given themselves complete immunity. Complete immunity to adjudicate any lie that they want. A Tennessee judge can adjudicate a fact that tends to incriminate somebody. That incriminates somebody. That is absolutely not true. That's false, and you can show it's false. And write it in an opinion, and it will not only, it can not only be not penalized for it criminally. The Board of Judicial Conduct will say they did nothing wrong and agree with the judge. So if enough people agree with you, it's right, even if it's the fault, even if it's false. I mean, that's what Hitler did. Get enough people to agree with the falsehood. And people say, well, you're comparing the Tennessee judiciary to Hitler. A lot of what they do are similar tactics. I'm not saying they commit mass genocide of Jews, but it is fair game. It is fair game to say, when you give yourself complete immunity for criminal acts, and you have a whole organization of people in the judiciary that are sworn to uphold the law, when they uphold falsehoods, it is fair to say that they are using a similar tactic that Hitler did, getting enough people to go along with a false, wrong program. And if they don't, what I'm saying, clean it up. They won't clean it up because they don't think they have to. Because they don't think that the public's going to wake up. They think we're too afraid of them. They think if they beat on us enough, and they threaten us enough, they throw us in jail enough, they turn off our cameras enough, they lie enough that people ain't going to go along with them. They're going to keep getting their fancy positions, keep getting medical care while you're not. But the economy is getting so bad because of them. Affordability, the cost of living for us is going up so high, and people are going to be without medical care, that the blame game is a good game to play. There's some people responsible for the stuff going on. It's not just by chance that we're not going to have medical care. It's not just by chance that we can't hardly afford to eat. It's not just by chance that the fatality rate on Tennessee roadways is skyrocketing. You might not get home safe because of a drunk driver, because the Highway Patrol is out arresting innocent people and allowing their own drunk troopers to get their own damn jobs back. Now that's not fallacy, all that is fact. It's not a lie. They don't say it that way, but I'm just saying the way it is. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a Tennessee judge. A dirty, lying, Tennessee, crooked, foul-mouthed, they are now foul-mouthed judges that mandate you have to listen to them while they're violating the Constitution, walking on people's blood, and we're going to have an election coming up next year, and let's keep them there where they can keep doing the same damn thing, right? I don't think so. See, I don't like that. I'm allowed to stand out here and say, hey, the judiciary in Tennessee is the greatest judiciary in the world. We ought to uphold these institutions of great honor. Stand up when they come in the courtroom. They are so honorable and so meticulous about getting it right, and they're so fair, and they treat Americans so good, and they have so much. I mean, they have so little, and you have so much, and they're taking what you got through forfeiture procedure laws. I mean, they're not unfair in their forfeiture procedure laws. Yeah, right. If you believe that, then you're not on the wrong channel. Just listen to me a little more. Time I get done, you'll believe the truth, because the truth ain't hard to sell. It's not hard to sell at all. I knocked on 40,000 doors. I might knock on 40,000 more Tennessee judges. They literally stopped me from knocking on doors. I was out knocking on doors, drugged me in the courtroom, said, you don't have a First Amendment right. I'll bet I do. I ain't got to abide by an unlawful law. I mean, I'm sitting on the bus. I'm not asking somebody else to get out of the bus. They're trying to take my seat, my lawful seat. That's what they're trying to do. I'm not Rosa Parks. I was already there. They're trying to get us out of our place and saying that they're just trying to make just laws. No, they're not. They're unjust. They're unright. They're unethical. They're criminals that have mandated that they have complete immunity to lie. They have complete immunity to lying court documents. Look it up. It's real. Lying court documents. They got a First Amendment right to spread lies with your tax money, but I don't have a First Amendment right. That's what they adjudicated in Tennessee. I don't have a First Amendment right to point out the truth about how they lie. And there's an election coming up. Shut up, Van. Don't tell them we're lying. Too late, too bad, so sad. Hope you get voted out, and investigators investigate your criminal wrongs, change the law, and put your nasty lying asses, nasty rich asses in jail and seize your BMW. Because they're seizing your Toyota Corolla because that's all you can afford. We can get a lot of money back from these judiciary if we get forfeiture procedure laws that seize property from dirty judges that have caused severe harm and suffering across the state of Tennessee. How about that? Imagine that. We get forfeiture procedure laws in place by the legislature that if a Tennessee judge lies under oath or puts something, no, they don't lie under oath, they're not under oath, allows somebody to lie under oath, intentionally with forethought and malice, falsifies legal rulings, falsifies facts, then we get to go get their property and put it in the public's hands because they haven't served the public and they've got paid for that. How about we get forfeiture procedure laws, not for the mass populace, forfeiture procedure laws for criminaloids, for people in government office that steal people's property, stand behind laws. Let's flip the law. Let's make a law where we get their property back from the judges. If you don't adjudicate right, if you don't back up the Constitution, if you don't stop walking on the blood of soldiers, we're going to take your house. They'll take yours. They do all the time through lies and fraud. I just showed y'all the other day where the state of Tennessee seized somebody's money that was their inheritance. Let's make some laws that set the record straight, that put these dirty judges in jail. First Amendment, I got a right to say that. They won't let me say it though, will they? They've said I can't say that. I just said it, didn't I? I didn't say to beat them up. I didn't say to knock them down and charge them with false charges. I said to vote them out. Every damn one of the lying asses, nasty, they even stink. Vote them out. Change the laws to where if they have mistreated the public, I'm talking about being fair, I'm talking about being Christian, where they have mistreated the mass populace, they've taken people's children away from them through their rogue criminal laws and rogue civil laws, and taken people's loved ones away from them, left people in jail for 37 years with free medical care, and let people be brutally murdered and not do a damn thing about it. When they have done these atrocities, these judges, when they have committed these atrocities, let's change the law. Let's change the law. Let's change the law and make criminal penalties when it's atrocious. Some of the stuff they do, some of the civil seizure forfeitures, the people they put in jail wrongfully, their failure to act to protect the public, have a criminal investigation unit, aside from politics, that investigates the judiciary and put in the law that when they violate the law, they're not completely immune from knowing violations of the Constitution. They're not immune from stepping on the Constitution, from violating people's rights, from saying that soldiers don't matter. And when they do that, then have procedure laws set up specifically for the Tennessee judiciary, where we take the money that they have extracted from Tennesseans while they're denying medical care, while they're putting people in jail unlawfully. Imagine how many good rulings we'd have. Imagine the length that they would go to make sure it's right, that make sure that they were fair, that they didn't violate the Constitution. Well, they'd be bending over backwards, wouldn't they? Right now, they're bending over backwards to kiss the governor's ass, to make sure they please him so that they can get promoted. The more you lie for the governor, the more you get promoted. The more you endanger the public, that don't make a damn. As long as you rule for the powerhouses, keep him in power. Let's investigate the Christian governor. Let's investigate him. See what laws that dirty scoundrel's broken. Let's look into his doings. Let's look at his back hallway meetings, his dirty lies where he promotes people that make the roads safer to you, that makes the roads more dangerous for you. Let's look at what he does. And if he hasn't done anything, then man, he ain't got nothing to worry about. I bet he's shaking in his boots right now if enough people wake up, because I think he's dirty as hell. He promoted a lady to major over the Tennessee Highway Patrol. The governor did. The dirty governor. He promotes dirty judges all the time that lie for him. If you lie for the governor, you get promoted. You get more money for lying. You don't get less. It's exactly backwards from what they're trying to tell you. This is unbridled news. Their lies ain't affecting me. In fact, I know where to go. When they tell you something, consider the exact opposite of that. Might that be the truth? And if you don't believe me, how well is the health care going for you? Maybe what they're telling you ain't true. Maybe it's the exact opposite. You ever thought about that? It's not by chance that things are going to hell in a handbasket. It's because people in government power are putting it to hell in a handbasket and making a utopia for themselves. Look how well their lives are. Look at them. Look at their houses. Look at their cars. Look at their esteem and their privilege. And then don't do this. Don't dare do this. Please don't do this, because you might vote them out. Don't look at their lies, because I assure you they don't tell one damn lie. They never have, and they never will. We need to stand up and honor these people. And how dare I speak up against them? I'll go to jail. I don't have that right. Wait a minute now. I think I do have that right, and I think I'm going to say that. We need to vote them out. I'm not talking about hurting them. You know, they talk about hurting me. They talk about hurting me. That's how wicked these people are. They'd like to kill me right now. They'd like to kill me. They already did put a hit out on me. I'm just saying. They say I'm dangerous. I have never posted in the news media their addresses or anything. I'm very careful not to dox any of them. I wouldn't do that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. I have morals and ethics. I'm literally human. If you pinch me, it hurts. Ouch. I'm a human being. I care. I have a heart. These people in that courthouse, these people in that damn courthouse right there, that dirty, nasty courthouse right there. Now, I know they say that they care, and they say they're honorable, but they're not. They're the nastiest scumbags that ever walked the planet. They're worse than criminals, even people that have really committed a crime that go in there. They're worse than them. The judge sitting behind the bench is worse than them. That's the truth. It's called freedom of speech. I can say that, and it's the truth. Think about it this way. Everything they say, every court ruling, every news article that comes out, NBC, CBS, and people are starting to less and less trust in both parties, Republican, Democrats. Every news article that comes out, every story they're trying to sell, every fact they're trying to tell you, instead of just entertainment, think about how it affects your lives when they put innocent police officers in jail for defending themselves. When they discipline innocent police officers, like here in Knoxville, maybe, for enforcing the laws, making it easier for you to get medical care by deporting illegal immigrants because they're taking up our resources. Think about the story they're trying to sell. And think about it in the exact opposite way. Maybe it's not what they're saying. Maybe, and I'm not saying it always is. I'm just saying think about it. Think about it, because they got a story to sell for them that benefits them. Every damn time they're wanting to benefit them. Why are all the news channels tell you the same story in the same way? They come up with the same result because they're on the same page. They're all corporates. They all benefit from all the same thing, from all the public officials. Same damn story, same old song and dance. They want to get you to the same place, pacify you. Think about what they're telling you. And think about what I'm saying. Think about maybe it's not that. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's something completely different. When you listen to a news story, think about who's that benefiting they're telling that story. Who benefits from that? I damn guarantee you the trail goes right to that courthouse, right to those sick people in that government office, right to those dirty judges. The trail benefits them. All they do, everything they do, for the most part, is to benefit them. To make them drive BMWs, them live in rich houses, them get the best health care in the world, them get votes, them get in office. Everything benefits them. Think about how it can benefit you. What should government be doing? These are public servants. They're supposed to serve the public. How could they serve you? The first thing they could do to serve you is write out their own warrants. They know the criminal acts that they've committed that are secret, that nobody will ever uncover that they committed in them back hallways and them back office buildings, they need to write out their own warrant and bear truthful witness. The governor, the Christian governor, needs to bear truthful witness, write out his own warrant, go down to the jail, get a detective to look over it, sign it, get it signed by a judge, and he needs to turn himself into prison. I believe, because he promoted a lady to major over the highway patrol that has caused the fatality rate in the state of Tennessee. Major Stacy Heatherly committed all kinds of atrocities, caused the fatality rate in the state of Tennessee to skyrocket. So when you're at home and you have a trooper knock on your door and tell you that your loved one didn't make it home, it is because of Major Stacy Heatherly, because she took the leading trooper off the road. And that's a fact. I led the state in drunk driving arrests. The judiciary has said that I'm a liar. I haven't lied about anything. They did. I'm about to show you how they lied. She's responsible for that. She stole valor. She has said that she's a member on a flyer with her picture, her name, the Highway Patrol insignia, and with the Highway Patrol's name sanctioned by them, that she's a member of the 1175th Division of the Army National Guard, retired. She never served a damn day. I reported that to Governor Lee. Instead of disciplining her, she should have been fired for that. Stolen valor, it's a criminal act. She benefited off it. She got a speech, invitation to a speech that she spoke out, benefited from it. The barter system, big time. And instead of disciplining her for that, and that's not the only thing she did, she is now major of the Highway Patrol. So instead of discipline, they promote these people. I'm telling you, when people get promoted in state government, don't think about they must be a good public servant. Think about they must be a good servant for the people in power. They're literally bad for you. Imagine that. Unbridled news, the truth. I'm about to show you some truth. In black and white in their own court documents. Read some of the stuff they put out. See if you can't find the errors and the discrepancies and the falsehoods and the lies and the criminal acts by courtroom judges, dirty state. So let's talk about got 169 people. Thank y'all so much. Like, share, comment. So let's talk about some of the issues in the news today. And the trust in the media has because the media is corporation owned, they back up these people. It is at an all-time low, some of the lowest in history, because of their corporations, and they're false, they lie. And we're going to talk about wind's blowing here. Let me get my notes. So this is my office. They won't let me in a real courtroom. They let me, so I'll speak against them out here in the street. We're going to talk about trust in the media. We're going to talk about we talked about Tennessee executions should be done within 5 years. The freedom of speech case in Tennessee, and also I'm going to talk, and I'm an honest person. I don't bear false witness. I'm going to talk for 30 seconds. Now I'm going to talk for about 30 seconds, and I'm going to correct. Now this is what the government ought to do. I'm going to correct for 30 seconds all the false things that I've said in all my videos. I'm going to correct things for 30 seconds. I'm going to correct all the falsehoods that I've told for 30 seconds. I'm a Christian. I don't bear false witness. It's a sin. It's in the Ten Commandments, right next to murder. Same thing as murder when you say false stuff about people. So for the next 30 seconds, and I've thought about this long and hard and prayed about it. I pray about it. God will help me do what's right. So I'm going to talk for the next 30 seconds. That's important stuff about the falsehoods, the things, the false I've told that I've come to find out are not true for the next 30 seconds. So listen to all this. This is correcting the record. So I'm going to start just in a second. Listen, this is important stuff because I want you to get what I've told you that was not true so I can correct it, because I'm an honest person, and I am an honest person. So for the next 30 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1. So that was 30 seconds of all the stuff I said false. I didn't correct anything. I haven't said anything false. If we had government officials talk about all the false stuff they said, it'd take a couple of years to straighten out their judicial rulings. Read their judicial rulings. It'd take a couple of years to straighten out all those lies in those judicial rulings. Take years for them to straighten out. So for 30 seconds, you heard it. Call these government officials and told them he corrected the record. 30 seconds. There's a section on there where he corrected the record. He didn't say a damn thing. Maybe because I don't lie about a damn thing. Maybe it's because I'm honest. Maybe it's because I'm who you need to listen to. They're a bunch of damn liars. You're telling it different than what they tell it. Yeah, a little bit differently, ain't I? I'm telling you, what they're telling you is a dirty lie, and probably what they're saying in a lot of cases is probably exact opposite of what they're trying to tell you. I mean, things ain't going good for you. It ain't by chance. It's because they rig it that way, and I'm not taking anything back. I've thought about everything I said, and it's the damn truth. It's every bit the truth. They're the liars, not me, government officials. I'm not in the government. I don't lie. So yeah, you got a little bit of truth there. So I thought y'all like that. So my papers are blowing away. If I turn my so you got a little bit of the truth about how they lie to you under oath with forethought and malice. Let me get my notes here and talk about a few other things. So this is my correcting the record. My record's truth. Nothing I'm lying about. Listen to my videos, they're all the truth. Look at their stuff, most of it lies. So we're going to talk about immigration enforcement while they do that. And immigration, it's in the news because a Knoxville police officer is under investigation, probably suspended off the job, because they enforced the law. They took an illegal immigrant to a detention facility so they can get due process and get deported. So, police officers are not allowed to enforce immigration laws. Wow. So who enforces it? Nobody. Now, the reason they don't want to enforce immigration laws is because of the fact that they get votes from these immigrants. You say, well, illegal immigrants can't vote. Well, who gives people that are illegal legal status? They're the government. They're in power. All they do is give them a piece of paper and say, you're legal. You're going to vote for me? Yeah, I'll vote for you. Here you go. You're legal now. Both parties do that. So they give people legal status, I believe, for votes. They make up about 10% of the voting population. And they're making more and more. So these foreign countries are coming over here. The foreign people are coming over here to the United States illegally, running across the border, and they're handing out legal status by the truckloads. Law enforcement can't deport them. Obviously, look in the paper, there's one getting disciplined, probably going to get disciplined, because they lawfully, unlawfully, lawfully, I don't know how they figure it, but my common sense says if they're illegal, they need to be deported. Not mistreated, deported. And so, a legal immigrant, police officers get in trouble for enforcing the law. That's what's going on. Because these politicians know that they're a voter base. There's a lot of these illegal immigrants. Millions come across the border. Millions of people. Millions of voters. You say, well, they can't vote. They're illegal. All they got to do, they're in government, is say, here, they have the power and authority. They're in power. They're in authority to say you're legal. Vote for me and you're legal. They're not only getting legal status, they're getting positions of public power. They're not just getting citizenship, just like me and you, that they didn't earn. They don't have a birth certificate, don't have a selective service. They get a piece of paper that says you're legal. ICE comes to get them. Can't get me. The governor gave me legal status, so I'm going to vote for the governor. Can't get me. Ha ha ha, I'm protected. People have told me, I know how Tennesseans think. People have told me all across the state. I knocked on 40,000 doors. I have the pulse of Tennesseans. They told me that they don't want illegal people to get mistreated. They don't. They believe they ought to be treated fairly and deported. People have told me they go into a store and they have limited budgets. They'd like to buy a bunch of groceries, but they can't afford to. So they buy what groceries they can, fill up their cart half full of what they can afford, even less. And these illegal immigrants, they know they're legal, don't speak English. They speak this stuff we can't, and they know they're illegal, and they fill up their basket to the hilt using food stamp money. They got, using our resources, using our services. Our hospitals are packed full. Our grocery stores, the food is slim to none because people have to live within a budget, but these people come over here on welfare, released from prisons, just like our president says, don't have a birth certificate, haven't done anything to advance the cause of freedom for America, just come over here and enjoy the fruits of our soldiers' labor. And then a police officer is going to get in trouble for saying, wait a minute, you can't eat off our dime, we're going to enforce the law, you shouldn't have come over here, and deport them. They're going to get in trouble because police officers can enforce the law against illegal immigrants because politicians get their votes. They get 5 or 10% of the vote. And that's not a lot of the vote, but they vote in the droves because the mass population's asleep. They have an incentive to vote because when they vote, they get power in the government with public officials. They have people that are illegal in Tennessee. Illegal aliens, some of them get legal status so they can go vote. They go vote and they have friends and neighbors that are illegal. So they go vote for the politician that will protect their illegal people, that will stop police officers from arresting them. If you get that, it's this simple. A politician running for public office wants votes. They don't care how they get them. They want to get elected in power. So what they do is they get a voter base. They say, where's the voters at? The voters, not just voters that'll go to the polls. And they look at the mass population, and some of you people wake up. Please, respectfully, you do have an incentive because you're going to get voted out of your own damn country. They're going to move you to a foreign country. They're going to make it illegal for you to live here. A police officer won't be able to arrest a legal immigrant. A police officer, and they can make laws to do this, will be able to arrest you. And you take your birth certificate, United States birth certificate, your selective service registration, and go to Guatemala. They made that law. They can do that. They're getting in power. They can make whatever laws they want. They're in power. So a politician wants to get power. They know to get power, they got to get votes. They don't care how they get them. They have these illegal people coming over here, bunches of them, a lot of bodies. So what they do, a lot of people, and they need to be treated respectfully. So what they do is they go to these people, shake hands with, go to their communities and say, now listen, we're going to get you legal status, or we're going to get law enforcement to leave you alone. Voting is next Tuesday at 5:30. You know, I'm your person. Come on now. 10% of y'all, and there's only 10%, but those 10% say, hey, they're gonna give me my family legal status, and if they can't get legal status, they're gonna leave us alone. So, and we got our family and friends. So in order to protect our family and friends, illegitimately, I might think, because it's illegitimate for a police officer not to be able to take a legal immigrant to get the law enforced on them. That's illegitimate. I don't agree with that. They ought to be able to do that. But if a politician says, we'll leave them alone, we won't even let our police officers enforce the law on you, we will protect you, get up and vote, that 10% is going to go vote. Almost all that 10% is going to go vote because they got a huge stake in that. It's their family. It's taking over a country. It's invasion. Through lawful means, we're voting for a politician that's going to take care of us, make laws in our favor. And the mass populace, you think, well, my family's citizens here, and I don't have a real big stake. I know food prices are high, but if I vote against these people make it worse, or I don't really have a reason to get out of bed. And the reason to get out of bed and go vote is because law enforcement's going to kick in your door, arrest you, take you to a detention facility, and deport you to another country when they make laws to take over our country. And it is coming to that. So the mass populace, even though we outvote them, don't go to vote, and they're getting a huger voter base. They are signing up and getting American citizenship by the droves, and not only getting American citizenship, they are getting positions of power in the United States over you, not just getting citizenship that they could take away from you. There we go. They could take American citizenship away from you. If they make a law that you don't have a right to be here, they very well damn sure could. Police will be getting you, putting you to the detention facilities that they were in. There's more than one way to invade a country. The back doorway, getting power in the government. They've already got power in the government. Steve Sacapone, illegal, doesn't have a birth certificate, doesn't have a selective service, came over here illegally. He is a lieutenant with the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Steve Sacapone, look it up. He's got more power. If I'm driving down the road, he can stop me. Turn the blue lights on, I've got to stop. He's in power. You don't think he'd like to make laws to get more of his family over here if he ever got in position in the legislature? The legislature goes for him. They're the ones that promoted him. They're the ones that gave him legal status. People in the government. Mr. Guzman came over here from Argentina. Doesn't have a birth certificate from the United States. Doesn't have a selective service registration. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer because of the fact that it said in his brief, he argued before the court that he will do great things for Argentinians. He'll get more of them legal status in America, more of them to vote, and more of them to vote you out, more 10%, 11%, 12%, 13%, where pretty soon they outvote you. Please get up and vote. You do have a stake in it. They're trying to put you to sleep. They're in positions of power. I just named two. There's plenty more. In power in our government. More rights than a normal citizen. A lawyer with the lawyer's privileges. I got a birth certificate, selective service registration. They won't let me practice in law. They won't let me go in a courtroom and try to stop some of this stuff that works against Tennesseans, that works against Americans. So that's the reason why they won't let police officers enforce immigration laws. Because they're voter based. They're not going to deport their voters. No, they don't care about the United States. They don't care about America. They don't care about birth certificates. They care about their votes. So the death penalty in Tennessee, that man that's going to get executed today was found guilty in 1990. He's been in jail for 35 years on death row, and I'm not going to mention his name. Karen Poley, that's who's important, the victim of that heinous murder. And he's been in jail. The average person in jail in Tennessee in the United States in death row is on death row for 22 to 25 years. In Tennessee, the last person executed was on death row for 32, 33, and 35 years. The government refuses to do their jobs. The government refuses to do their jobs. We need to make death penalty cases. People get executed within 5 years. Within 5 years. So let's talk about the case going on in Knoxville right now with the freedom of speech case. Y'all might be surprised at what I think about this. And let's see what y'all think about this. So we got a bunch of people in here, 300 people in here. So yeah, we're talking about illegal immigration. I guess that's a hot button. Deport these people, treat them good. Tennessee is believed to treat illegal aliens good and deport them. So let's talk about the freedom of speech case with Tamara Shura. I can't hardly pronounce her name. It's going on right now. It's a freedom of speech case. She's a professor at UT, and she posted publicly, I think on Twitter, about Charlie Kirk's death, saying it's a better world now that he's dead. She didn't threaten imminent lawless action and was not going to do imminent lawless action. Now, she was condoning it, which you could say is a bad thing, in the University of Tennessee. And she did it on her own private time. And the University of Tennessee fired her, saying that she disrupted the university functions. But she did it on her own time, and it's freedom of speech. She spoke out against and presented her opinion, even though it's ugly and nasty and something I don't agree with. She's just showing who she is. I believe that she's got a right to say what she said on her own time, on her own page. And so I don't think they have a right to fire her for that. I think that she had a right to speak out. I don't agree with what she said, but freedom of speech protects speech that you don't agree with. You don't have a right under Brandenburg versus Ohio to incite imminent lawless action that's likely to occur. Now, under that Supreme Court ruling, you can incite lawless action, but if it's not likely or imminent to happen, then it's not illegal under my understanding of it. So if your speech does not incite lawless action that's imminent, that's likely to occur, then you can speak. I can go down here in front of the courthouse and say or right here on where I'm at, that we should vote these crooked politicians, these crooked judges out of office. I can stand right here and say I think Judge McMillan is a vulgar, nasty, dirty judge that rules in favor of prosecuting people for money. I can say that. I'm allowed to say that. And I'll be nasty to him, but it's the truth and it protects you. Now, what I can't say, and I would not say, is I can't go down to the courthouse or right here and threaten to hurt him or ask somebody else to do that. And I wouldn't do that. Don't do that. That's threatening lawless action, intimate lawless action that's likely to occur. I'm pretty close here. I could do that, or I could, but that, you can't do that. That's a limitation of freedom of speech. Other than that, freedom of speech is pretty wide open. Other than obscenity, which is highly debated. What that is, nobody really knows. And other than defamation, which is false communication. Unprivileged false communication disseminated to at least a third person that tends to lower somebody in the standing community, makes people not want to deal with them. And unprivileged judges have a complete privilege to defame people. So they have made it in their rules that we can commit defamation, and they do routinely. That's why we need to vote them out. They don't need to have that bench when they can't control themselves, and they can't control themselves. So it's unprivileged false communication. So like I said, I just gave you a 30 seconds of me correcting anything that I got. And even if you do defame people publicly, there is some case law about you do have time to where if you realize it was false, that you can correct the falseness, and that helps with damages. And I just gave you all about 30 seconds of me correcting any falsehoods I've told. I haven't corrected any falsehoods. I haven't told any. So that's what I think about. I'm a truth teller, truth bearer. They're not. So my opinion of that, my view on that, based on the law, she did not threaten intimate lawless action, even though she condoned it. And you could say, if you're afraid, well, she's saying that's a good thing for people to do that in fear. But fear alone is not a basis to stop somebody from speaking out. Baseless fear that something might happen as a result of somebody's speech is not a reason to overturn somebody's freedom to speak out. A baseless, blind fear that somebody may or not have. As the civil rights attorney says, quite frankly, and I like that man, is if you watch his show, is freedom is scary, deal with it. Freedom's scary, deal with it. It is. You can have mass governmental control where people can't say a damn thing if that's the way you want it. That's not the way I want it. And that's not what the Constitution says. We have a right to freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Some limitations, very few. They've given themselves unlimited freedom of speech to lie, cheat, rob, and steal in the courthouse. That needs to change. So I don't think they should be able to fire her. The problem with that is, with her speech, is that she's shown who she is. I mean, you see these people out here that are Ku Klux Klan members, KKK, and these hate groups, and they get out here and they speak, so you know what they stand for. At least it gives us the right, and as long as they don't threaten intimate lawless action that's likely to happen, Brandenburg, Ohio, then you can speak. In America, it's wonderful that you can hate people if that's what you want to do. You can do that. You're free to do that. If that's what you feel, if that makes you feel giddy, you go right ahead. You're allowed to do that. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. And they ought to be able to. You can hate whoever you want to hate. That's not against the law. You can reason and think whatever you want to reason and think. That's a God-given thing. People reason and think evil things all the time. We can't legalize or illegalize that. That's not wrong. That's not a violation of the Constitution. It's a violation of the Constitution for us to stop people from having beliefs that we don't agree with that are obviously evil and wicked. You can be a racist in America, and you can speak out against African Americans. That's fine. I wouldn't do that. I'm not racist. I love all races. I have African American friends. African Americans have me as a friend. But you can hate black people if you want to. You can speak out against black people. But at least when they speak out, at least when this lady speaks out, we know who she is. We know who she is. Law enforcement can watch her to see if she does anything wrong. And I guarantee you, with somebody with that attitude, somebody with that position, that spoke like she did, probably has some illegal conduct to go along with it, and probably has not just illegal, maybe, and I'm not saying she has illegal, but I guarantee you she has some biased conduct, where if you were in her classroom and you wrote a paper that disagreed with her opinion, even though it was an A paper, she'd give you a F for it, or she would violate a policy of not grading fairly at the University of Tennessee. And they need to watch her very closely, make sure she follows the policies while she's in office. Other than that, she's got a right to say any damn thing she wants to, other than promoting imminent lawless action that's likely to occur. So what she said, I believe, watch the court case and see if she don't win her job back. And people in public power, because of influence, have tried to get her terminated, and I think that she'll win her job back. So that's my position about that case. So freedom of speech is a wonderful thing, and the Pickering case, public people in public office do have a right to First Amendment to comment on private matters, as long as they don't intimate lawless action that's likely to occur. So let's talk about health care. Now they are getting ready, so like, share, comment, and subscribe if you want. If you like the show, keep freedom of speech open. So in Congress right now, they're getting ready to, the affordable health care is getting ready to expire. So you're getting ready to lose subsidies for health care if you're not covered. If you're covered, you could lose your health care. So millions of Americans are getting ready to have to pay more for health care. If it's not renewed, premiums could cost hundreds of dollars. And our government officials are failing to act. Congress people are failing to act for us. They have medical care. The Republicans are divided. They want to extend the health care or end it. I think that they should extend it. The Democrats want a full extension. So there is agreement on some of them to extend it, and I would ask them to extend it until they figure out a better way for health care in the United States. Representative Burchett says that we need to cut out the middleman. I agree with that. Millions of Americans could see prices spike if Congress does not act for us. They act for themselves. Let's get this right. Congress acts. They act all the time, efficiently and fast and quick as possible for themselves. They got medical care. If they didn't have medical care, they was getting rid of their subsidies. Oh, they'd act quick. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, you'd see it done. You don't see that stuff in public, but you see the result. That's why they live to be in their 80s and 90s, because they have the best health care in the world. They're public servants that serve themselves. But as far as making agreement for the mass populace to keep our medical insurance, to stop their social welfare that benefits them, they're kicking the ball and running around. They don't care. It's a little bit of a nuisance to serve the public. That's why they shut down the government and they do all this stuff, because we're a nuisance to them. We're in the way of them living the high life, them living high on the hog. It's a problem for them. We're a problem for the public servants to serve the public. That's the truth. You look at the results. I mean, they can't agree on mass millions of Americans going to lose their health care, and they can't agree. They can't come to an agreement. If they were losing their health care, I guarantee you, look at all those people sitting in that Congress, all those people sitting there. If they were losing their health care, they'd be signing papers, working day and night. They got to get their health care for them and their family. That's what they do. That's what the government is for. Right now, it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be for that, but that's what it's for. It's for to take care of them. The people in power, the power elite, to take care of them. Things get done really well. They act in lightning speed. It's not that hard to take care of yourself. Oh, they do it. And especially when you got public tax dollars funding it. It's easy. It's easy as hell. But when it comes to taking care of the mass millions of people across the United States that you're responsible for, that's what you signed up for. Remember, I swear to uphold the Constitution and all that stuff that you swore to, that you don't think matters one damn bit because you're going to lie to get elected in office. Well, then when it comes to that, then they have a problem coming to agreement, and we don't know what they're going to agree on. People are worried to death about their health care. Let's vote these assholes out of office. Vote these dirtbag thugs out of office. So, means Americans could see prices spike. And GOP wants to expand savings accounts. Savings accounts, if you're poor, you don't have any savings, so that won't help people. If you're poor, you don't have a lot of money because social welfare to them has stolen all your money. So you don't have any money, so that's not going to help. The GOP is not going to help anybody but help themselves. They're a bunch of dirty liars, and they're not going to help you. They help higher income people that don't need help in the first damn place. People that are working hard that can't afford health care because they are giving all their money to the power elites that have the best health care in the world. Ain't going to be able to afford health care. Both regulate, both are crooked. Both, they're wanting to regulate drug prices and get rid of the middlemen so that drug prices can come down. So all of us have a stake in healthcare affordability. And in Tennessee, under a Republican, and I vote mostly Republican for core values, but 16 hospitals have been closed down since 2010. So our health care is going to hell, but they have places to go to. Deductibles have increased by 60% in the state of Tennessee. Our insurance deductibles, even if you have insurance, it's increased by 60%, the deductibles. This stuff is not by chance. Health care is better in other countries. They have more affordable health care, better affordable health care in other countries. It is horrific in Tennessee because of our elected officials have caused the health care to skyrocket. So that is a problem for all of us. So let's talk about peer research. Let's talk about freedom of speech. And peer research says the trust in the news media, CBS, NBC, local news stations even, has decreased by 11%, at a low time history low in America. The trust in the news has decreased. So that is our lane, independent, unbridled news. People love what I'm saying. 1.5 million people, probably close to 1.6 million people today, are loving to listen to the truth. Independent news broadcast. Local ranks even higher, but even local media has fallen because local media lies to you. So thank y'all for joining this channel. It has skyrocketed in the past few days. Even local media. You look at a story about police officers, how local media frames things. Look at Ray Faircloth, a police officer in Alcoa. It was in Morgan County. And the news media, I saw a show, the news media and he's been charged criminally because of public pressure with homicide, an unlawful killing of an individual. He responded to a call from what I deduct from the newspaper, from the news and from this is local news. This is part they're putting out falsehoods, I believe. Let me see if you got on here and we'll talk about the local news. So he responded to a call, and I know Ray, I know him personally. He responded to a call, a domestic dispute. Family called people, then they didn't like the way he handled it, which he has to handle it appropriate and constitutional. Evidently, the man had a rock. Now, it's not clear. They don't say whether the man approached him with a rock, was running at him. It does say that he demanded that he drop the rock. So a rock is a weapon that can kill you, that cause you serious bodily injury. So you got the right to defend yourself with force that is under the laws of the state of Tennessee. Any citizen does. With force, if somebody is attacking you with force that's likely to cause death or serious bodily injury. Serious bodily injury is like a broken bone or something that could cause you to die. Then you are allowed to defend yourself with force that could be lethal force, that could cause them death. So if someone's attacking you with a rock, then you have the right to use lethal force against them to stop them from assaulting you. And a rock is a deadly weapon. Now, I'm not sure of the facts, and they haven't released the video, but I know Ray, very good man. And they're charging him with murder because he responded to a call of a domestic issue. The call was a burglary. He wasn't even made aware it was a domestic call where family was arguing with their son. And he got there and the man refused to drop a rock. So evidently, and I know Ray, he was in fear of death or serious bodily injury because of the actions of that young man refusing to drop the rock, or I don't know, he may have charged him with it. But he believed, I think, that he was going to get seriously hurt by that man after telling him to drop it, probably repeatedly. Now, the news media don't tell you that. I'll tell you what the news media tells you. I'll tell you what I think. And after repeated telling him to stop, I think that he probably has made a motion. They won't release the video to where he thought, well, I need to defend my life. I'm about to get hurt. I'm about to get killed. I'm about to get serious bodily injury. And so he has used force to stop that man from killing him or hurting him seriously. Now he's on trial for murder, a police officer, Morgan County deputy. So they're trying to say, well, it was a rock. And they're the news media, and this is the news media bias, they're exploiting the fact that this officer, this police officer has been to several agencies, been employed at several agencies, has gotten written up a few times for minor incidences. And a sheriff, elected sheriff, and we know how sheriffs are, the elected sheriff here in Knox County hired a line prosecutor to lie. So sheriffs lie. A sheriff said he shouldn't be a police officer. So that's not weight and law and gold. The sheriff could be wrong. The sheriff's wrong here in Knox County, claims to be a Christian, hiring a lawyer, the former prosecutor because he protected him, all his protected sheriff's deputies. So he used deadly force, killed the guy. He's on trial for murder, and the news media is saying that he's killed an innocent person, trying to tell you that story, saying that he had a history of leaving a lot of apartments, that's bad. That's not necessarily bad. If you leave a lot of apartments, that could mean you're good. Look at the opposite of what they're trying to tell you. It could be the departments are bad. One of the very departments that he left, that wrote him up, that said he wasn't a good police officer, and they didn't even fire him. He was still employed there. He resigned and went to Morgan County, but one of the Alcoa Police Department, or not Alcoa, a police department in Tennessee fired him, or they didn't fire him, they wrote him up, and they said that he wasn't a good police officer, but he was still employed there. They suspended him, he's come back to work, he came back to work. And so the news media is saying he's a bad officer, he had trouble in all these agencies. But maybe it was all the agencies bad. And they're trying to throw in everything in the kitchen sink to sell you the story, the narrative. And I don't do that. I'll tell you the truth. I used to be a police officer. I've been boots on the grounds. I know what it's like. I know that departments lie. Police chiefs lie. They lie to protect themselves, protect their power. You could have a good police officer that's gotten written up by agencies. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Might mean the police agency's wrong. The police agency that wrote him up has just recently been on the news where they were taking pictures of women's feet and officers on the road stopping cars and literally, I'm not exaggerating, the police department that wrote him up was officers stopping cars with women in it, and while they had the car stopped, they were taking photo shots of their feet, the women's feet. I don't know why they were doing that. Strange, weird as hell. And Ray Faircall wouldn't do that. So the police department's got some problems of its own. And if they wrote up Ray Faircall, why did this stuff have to come out in the news media before they wrote these police officers up? They were disciplined for that. They should have been fired for that. That's pretty pathetic. I mean, what the hell are they doing? And so the news media is selling the story that Ray Faircloth is bad, bringing up stuff that makes no difference. Didn't have nothing to do with the day that he shot somebody that was a threat to his very life and had, I believe, every right to do that. But they're selling the story. Bad police officer on trial for murder, killed somebody. They're not telling you, and this is the truth about this. Here's the truth that the news media is trying to tell you: hang this guy out. They even showed his picture. Even if he gets out of jail, maybe we go kill him because the news people put him out. The news tells the truth all the time, don't they? That's the news. That's the story they're selling. The bad police officer went into detail for a long time talking about all these agencies, had witnesses pop up and say, he's a bad police officer. He did this, he did that. They're selling you a story to hang a police officer out. That's the narrative. Here's the story. We're going to make this man out to be a bad man. And here we're going to do all this stuff to do that. That's the story. Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you, independent, unbridled news. I know Ray Faircloth. Know him personally. Met him. Known him for years. Ray Faircloth is a very good man. Imagine that. Somebody say that. Yeah, he's a very good man. Ray Faircloth would not have shot somebody unless he was in fear for himself, his life, or someone else's life. I don't believe he would have broke the law. I don't believe that. They're trying to tell you that because he was fired from he wasn't even fired, he was written up from numerous agencies that he's bad. I'm telling you, that makes no difference whatsoever at all. Has nothing to do with it. Muddying the water, dirtying a police officer, spreading a false narrative. He may have been right, and the agency that was wrong that suspended him. Look at the agencies, what they're doing. They're doing wrong, having police officers taking pictures of women's feet. They're dirty police departments. Good officer, dirty police department. They won't sell that story. I'm selling that story. It was in Oak Ridge where they were taking pictures of women's feet. That's where he was disciplined. Maybe the Oak Ridge Police Department's dirty. The news didn't tell you that the department that suspended him was dirty. I know the sheriff that said he wasn't a good police officer, shouldn't be a police officer. That sheriff was not a good man. I know him, lived right next door to him. I don't believe he was a good man, did a lot of wrong things. Now, he's deceased now, but I know that sheriff. I didn't like that sheriff, wasn't a good man. He lied about stuff. That sheriff was a good man. I know him personally. I can tell you personally. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been the sheriff, but he was wrong about Ray Faircloth. Ray Faircloth was a good deputy. I know him. I worked right beside him. He was a very good man. But the newsman ain't telling you that. But I know that because they're selling you a story. Bad police officer, sensationalism, sells news, you know. It's a good thing. We want to hang this police officer out. People love a police officer being hanged out. That's wonderful and beautiful. They don't love the chief of the police being hung out. Why not? Oh, they're protected. They're part of the power elite. They got power to help us get us out of tickets because we get a ticket from a police officer. They call the chief, and they know the chief, and they tell the officer, no, don't write that ticket. And the officer writes the ticket anyway and says, I'm going to enforce the law fairly. I wrote poor people. I'll write news people too. Well, then we'll hang you out, and if something happens bad, then we're going to say, look at your record. You got suspended. Maybe Ray Faircloth got suspended for doing the right thing. You ever thought about that? I know Ray, and I would suspect that's probably the case. In Oak Ridge, they're taking pictures of women's feet. Ray didn't do that. Maybe he didn't fit in that department, so he's bad because he didn't fit in the department where they're taking pictures of women's feet. I'm telling you the truth. They don't tell you that. They want to hang out a police officer. Sensationalism, sells, papers, make some money. They could give a rat's ass about you. They care about making money. I know how they did me. Tried to get me killed. Came to my house, followed my children around. Local news here in Knoxville. They're doing stories right now telling you because they know people don't believe a damn word they say. We'll finish about Ray. They hung me out. They tried to follow my kids around. The local news sells sensationalism. So Ray Faircloth shot a man. They're trying to say he just had a rock. You know, indicated he had a rock. He wasn't armed, he had a rock. You know, a rock. What are they going to do? Skin you? If you think about it, what's in the news right now about a Knox County deputy? Interesting at the same time. His attorney even mentioned this. A rock's a deadly weapon. It can cause you death or serious bodily injury. Look what's going on right now in the news. The news media didn't bring this up. They forget about this. They leave out facts. A Knox County Sheriff's deputy right now has not been able to go back to work because he got hit in the head with a rock. He's got brain issues, brain damage, ongoing issues, needs surgery. They got a GoFundMe page out for him because a Knox County Sheriff's deputy on duty got hit in the head with a rock. So a rock could have killed Ray Faircloth. He had every right to defend himself. They don't tell you that story. They want sensationalism. They want to lead you in the path that they're going and want to want to lie to you. Unbridled news. That's why they're down 11%. People don't believe their lies. They have news shows, and that's the reason why they're trying to do this. Why are they having to say, you'll have these news anchors all in Knoxville, every damn one of them, Channel 6, Channel 10, Channel 8. Channel 8's the worst news channel in Knoxville, in my opinion. I wouldn't watch them. I wouldn't watch them for hill beans. So every one of them are putting out news articles saying, and this one, if you have to keep saying, trust me, I'm honest. Trust me. Every one of them are putting out news. They got their anchor on there. They got their anchor on there saying, we are honest news. We are honest news. Trust us. So every one of the news channels is having to tell you, having to do commercials saying we're honest. Believe us, we're honest. You don't get people to believe because you're honest, because you tell people to believe you. You tell people that you're honest. You get people to believe you because you tell the truth and you can prove it. That's how you get people to believe you're telling the truth. So why do they have to keep telling people we're honest, believe us? Why don't you just tell people that Ray Fairclough, the person had a rock, that he might have got in trouble because of dirty agencies, and that he had a right to defend himself, and he's still up for trial. Why you got to hang a man out doing his job, out risking his life for the public? Because they're crooked as hell. People don't believe the news because of perceived bias. They're very biased. They operate for the power elite. They sell sensationalism. They'll tell you the truth. They're corporate-owned, political pressure. They support the people in office, and the people in office support them. They're representatives of the state. And when every channel says the same sounds, they sound the same way, people start looking for a new human voice. That's why they're listening to social media and independent creators reach some or higher than the local news. I have reached in some of my videos, several of them have gotten over 50,000 people have watched my video. More outreach than local news channels. The local news channels, the highest one has about 50,000 people watching their channel. I have had an outreach of 50,000 people, over 50,000 people several times. So at times I have more outreach than the local news channels here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So people ain't listening to them liars. People are not listening to the liars in the local news media. So like, share, comment. Let's get over 100 and contribute if you can. So I've got more outreach. In the past 3 months, I have gotten over 1.5 million people have listened to me. That's like being able to go in Neyland Stadium for at least 30 seconds or more and have over 100,000 people. It's even better to have 100,000 people listen to you right in the middle of the field, over 100,000 people, 15 times listen to you for a pretty significant amount of time. Over 1.5 million people have listened to me, and I'll say it again, have listened to me talk about how dirty and crooked people in power in the state of Tennessee are, how they adversely affect your lives daily, and what we can do about it is to vote them out of office. Voters of truth and rage. Over 1.5 million people have heard me talk in detail about the criminal acts on paper of how dirty the Tennessee government is. That's why they don't want me to speak, because the word's getting out, the truth's getting out against these corrupt people in power in the government. So the gatekeepers aren't the only ones holding the mic anymore. They're the gatekeepers. They say this can get out to the public. This is the narrative. This is the utopia that we want to get out so we can keep our utopia. They're not the only ones holding the mic. Somebody else holding the mic. Freedom of speech, First Amendment, saying these people are dirty as hell. Vote. They want to shut me down. They want to wait for me to say something violent and dangerous. I'm not going to say something violent and dangerous. I'm not a violent, dangerous person. I believe in love and care. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. They're a follower of their own nasty asses, their little utopia that they're trying to build for themselves that rapes and takes off you. And today, is going to be a better day in Tennessee after 37 years when we have an execution at 10 o'clock. Everybody say, praise the Lord, justice is done. So let's look at some of the falsehoods I promise y'all I'll tell you that's in black and white about these dirty people in Tennessee government. Here's a few of them right here. That 1.5 million have heard me say, they hate me so bad for saying this, they lie on me. Why can't I tell the truth about them? You know, that'd be more than fair. It's not fair for them to lie on us. It's not fair. I'm standing in front of 1.5 million people. That's the audience I've had. Thank the Lord in heaven. God cares. I pray every day. Stand in front of 1.5 million people. Look what they've done to my life. Tried to decimate me. Just made me a little madder, a little angrier, a little more truthful, a little more fightful. You don't take the fight out of the dog. You make the dog madder, well, he bites you even harder. So I've got the opportunity, and thank you all so very much. I've got the opportunity. 1.5 million people are listening to me for a significant amount of time, and talking about to vote these people out of office. How wonderful is that? And God bless y'all, and God thank y'all. So let's talk about their social media. They talk to millions of people all the time with authority, and they lie. Major Stacey Heatherly, she's a major now. A major and a liar. A major, a liar, a violator of the law, and protected. She's the direct media contact person, media release, media. She works with the media. She's their liar for the media. So they lie for her. You lie for us, we'll lie for you. It's a lie situation. 1.5 million people hear me say that. Their media lies to you through a lying government official. 1.5 million people, she's caused the fatality rate to skyrocket in Tennessee. Why do we have freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is an unalienable right because people have the right, the duty to think for themselves. You don't have to believe me. Think for yourselves. Don't listen to what she tells you. I'm asking you not to. Don't think the way she tells you. She lies to you. She's a dirty liar, a dirty, crooked, criminal, liar, drunk that uses your tax money to facilitate her lies. That's who she is. Liaison, government liaison with the media. I'm a private individual, Unbridled News, liaison with the public. 1.5 million people. Thank y'all so very much. I know how to fight. Freedom of speech make representatives accountable to we the people. I'm making her accountable to we the people. She don't like me speaking about her. She has no choice. Free speech is necessary for the discovery of truth and the rejection of falsehoods. I'm rejecting their falsehoods. They tell you that we are government servants, we're people in the government. We tell the truth in our judicial writings, and if we don't, we're completely immune from any prosecution because we gave ourselves immunity. I'm here rejecting their falsehoods. I got a right to reject their falsehoods. If I'm telling the truth, let them. If I'm telling a lie to 1.5 million people, thank you very much. I hate it for you, Stacey Heatherly. You fought with the wrong person. You messed up a little bit. There's a white flag. Go get it. It's, I got a lot of support. So I'm telling the truth. She's got a direct key to the news media. They won't even let me in the doors hardly. Free speech allows the public discussion necessary for democratic self-government. So they don't want me to speak. They don't want democratic self-government. They want their lies. Let me show you some of their lies that they tell in black and white. Am I telling the falsehood or am I telling the truth? Let's look at this. A government liar. Under oath. They swear. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. And then they lie. And the judge, not only, you say, well, a judge will say, well, that's a lie. You're going to jail for perjury. You committed a crime. No, they won't. The judge will say, you don't question them about their lies. You shut up. And then the judge adds to their lie, puts the weight of law on their lies. That's what a judge does in Tennessee. 1.5 million people, listen to me. Tennessee judiciary is crooked as hell. They lie. I'm about to show you black and white. Now, they'll show you a bunch of lies. I'll show you where. When you lie, you leave tracks. You see, the truth is solid. When you tell the truth, there's really nothing that can disprove it. There's stuff that might look like it's a lie, but if it is, you can explain why that's not accurate, what they're trying to say. Because the truth has weight and value if you lie about stuff. And this is why they don't like lawyers. This is why they don't like me. Somebody that's been to law school that knows how to uncover lies. They're easy. Their lies are so blatantly obvious. The way you find lies is you look at what they're saying, and where it don't match up, there's a trail, and you can point it out. Here's a trail where they lied about stuff, where the state of Tennessee lied under oath. I told you I was going to show you, and we're about to show you right now a lie under oath by a dirty Tennessee state officer. So here's what he said. My question is not what he saw the night of the incident, whether or not it looked bad. My question is, did he acknowledge to you as you were watching the video with him that yes, as he passed the car, it was in fact on fire? He told you that, correct? He acknowledged the day of the interview that the vehicle was on fire and it looks bad. However, he did not pass it down. Did you acknowledge in the interview that the vehicle was on fire? Your Honor, this has been asked and answered many times. Mr. Parks, he answered the same question at least half a dozen times, and he said the same thing half a dozen times, that during the interview, your client acknowledged to him that he saw the same thing everybody else saw. He didn't say it at the time of the incident. He drove past it without recognizing it, but when he reviewed the tape to the video of it, like everybody else in the room. So here's the judge speaking, defending himself, defending the liar. So he's saying this is Sergeant Terrell Johnson, who got promoted to captain for lying. Sergeant Terrell Johnson, this is under oath. He swore to tell the truth. So he's saying, here's what he's saying. Transcript of proceeding. Well, let's go through it and see. If you made note of this interview, you did with Mr. Morgan when they all watched the video. And I will add, for the record, is it common practice that when we show a video, we're not really on the record, we're just looking at the video? And that has been common practice several times when myself and another employee that I was interviewing reviewed video, and then we move on, so it may not be documented in that watched it. So he's saying that Sergeant Terrell Johnson of the Tennessee Highway Patrol, promoted to major now. That's not a lie, it's not defamation, it's true. He got promoted because he lied. He lied to protect the agency from a falsehood. So they took me down there to Nashville. No equipment on. Sergeant drove me down there, and I seen the video of the pursuit the same night as it happened, where a car wrecked out of my sight. I couldn't see it, and I drove past it because it wasn't visible. That's the truth. An eyewitness on the scene, they falsified a report, said that she looked out her window, couldn't see it either. So even what's the chances of having a third party at the scene that night seeing the same thing you saw? Nothing. So I watched it with a detective from the investigation unit of the Highway Patrol who lied on the report and now works for the Sheriff's Department. So he got promoted in the Highway Patrol. He lied. Now he's a sheriff's deputy because they know that he will protect the establishment. So if you lie to protect the establishment, then you get promoted. You don't get promoted for telling the truth and protecting the public. You get promoted because I protected the public. You get promoted for annihilating the public and protecting the establishment. If you continue to protect the establishment, they'll continue to promote you because they know that you'll continue to protect their lies, even in their dirty courtroom. So this is a courtroom. This is under oath, where he's on notice that anything that he says that's a lie, he can go to jail for. But he doesn't care because he knows the judge is on his team. The judge will not uncover his lie. In fact, the judge will add to his lie and put more falsehoods in the record. That's what the Tennessee Judiciary does. Here's black and white. I'm showing you this. So he is saying that me and him sat down and watched the video of that pursuit, that where I passed the car because it wasn't seeable. So they got me past the car and they want to flame people because I passed the car because it wasn't seeable. That's why would a trooper pass a wreck off the road in the night? Well, obviously, not hard to figure, probably didn't see it, right? And I didn't see it. That's the truth. I seen the tail end of the car, didn't see it as a wreck, thought it was a parked car. That's obvious. Anybody would have, it's in the dark. Police officers are responsible to act reasonably under the circumstances. It is unreasonable under the circumstances to expect a trooper to see a car off the road in the dark and identify it as a wreck in the few seconds that he has to identify it, because he's trying to pursue and apprehend a dangerous violator to protect the public. What they're doing is unreasonable, and they're changing facts, and they lie under oath to do that. If they believe that I did what I did, they've got every right to present the factual evidence that they have and try to get my job taken away. They got a right to do that. I'll give them that. They do not have a right. They are violating the law and stepped over into criminal territory whenever they start lying about stuff and adding to it and trying to convince a court and the public that I did something I didn't, using false facts and lying under oath, which is what they did. This is what the government does. They'll do it to you every day. I'm about to show you in black and white where they do that. That's why I'm out here on the sidewalk, not in the courtroom, defending you because of Terrell Johnson's lies. I get the sidewalk for protecting the public. He gets promoted for protecting the governor, the Christian governor. Christian governor, you're not a very Christian governor. I pray about it every day. So he is saying that black and white lie, not hypothetical, not innuendo. I'm telling you, Sergeant Terrell Johnson's a criminal. He's a liar. He caused the public to get killed and got promoted for it. That's clear as bell. That's what I'm saying. Sergeant Terrell Johnson, Major Terrell Johnson, you're a dirty criminal. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for what you did. And I'm going to show you how you did it. I can point it out right here. Right here it is. You can't change the record. So he is saying that me and him sat down and watched the video, that I admitted with him that as we're watching the video that the car I passed was on fire, so I should have seen it because it was on fire. That's what he's saying. But he is saying, now listen to get this, what he's saying. He's saying that it wasn't in the record because they recorded what I said. They recorded what I said. But he is saying that it's not in the record. It's not in the record that we watched it. But we still did, even though it's not recorded. See what he's lying. You can't find it in the record, but we still did it, even though it's not in the record. Because we do that all the time. We go in and watch the video and we don't record that we did that. So he's lying about it. He's saying we did it, but it's not recorded that we did it. But we did it. We do that all the time. So it's not in the record, but it is in the record. It's just not in the record the way he wants it to be. Because it is in the record the exact opposite of what he's saying. It's in the record that me and him did not sit down and watch the video, as he testified under oath after being notified and continued questioning about it, that we did not do what he said we did under oath. So that'd be a lie. That'd be a dirty lie. So even if I did what they said they do, which I did not, I didn't lie about anything, he still doesn't have the right to lie about it, does he? It'd be a crime. And it is also, it's perjury. It is misrepresenting material facts. He's saying something. He's saying I admitted to something that I never admitted to. Just like if you are on trial for murder and you go down and they interview you and you ask for an attorney. They turn on the mic and you say, I want an attorney. And you sign paper saying you want an attorney. And they got you on record saying you want an attorney. So you go into court and you say, I'm good, I want an attorney. I didn't say a damn thing to that cop. Didn't say a damn thing to him. I want an attorney. And you say you didn't do it. And the officer gets on the bench, under oath, I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. And he says, here's what they're doing. They'll pull this on you too. They'll put you in jail, you didn't do it. Put you on death row. Might execute you at 10 o'clock and didn't even do it. I'm telling you, this is serious stuff. I'm showing you what they did. Black and white's in writing. You can look at it where you want to. It's not hypothetical. It's not innuendo. It's exactly what they did. And you're in court on trial for murder. You didn't sign away your rights. You said, I want a lawyer. I'm not talking to you. And the investigator that talked to you says that, under oath says that, well, he did ask for attorney. But before he asked for attorney, that wasn't on the record, before he signed that paper, he told me that he did this. But that ain't on the record, because we didn't ask him any more questions after the record, but the record won't reflect that he told me that he did it. But you didn't do that. You said I didn't do that. And why was on there? Well, we routinely question people before we, they're just lying. I mean, they just pull stuff out of their hind end. Just try to get you convicted of whatever hell they want to. And you think the judge will stand up against it? No, the judge defends the liar. The judge defends the liar. You're thinking, objection, I got it. And they say, you shut the hell up. You take this stuff. We'll kill you right here. That's what they do, I'm telling you. You think you got rights in the Tennessee courtroom? You got a right to do what they tell you to do. When they tell you to, they'll blow your damn brains out the other side of your head, leave you laying and locking. That's what they do. That's how crooked these people are. Look what they did. He says right here. He says that. He says this. Well, let's go through this and see. He says this. When y'all watch the video, I didn't watch the video with him. And I'll add for the record, it's common practice that when we show a video, we're not really on the record. We're not on there. It wasn't recorded. You won't find it written down that we did this, but it happened. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. That's a lie. It wasn't on the record because it didn't happen. So he's explaining a lie. He's explaining that you won't find it on the record because it's not on the record, but we did it. That's not on the record because it didn't happen, because you're lying under oath. And you're explaining why you're lying under oath, Mr. Terrell Johnson. 1.5 million people. They even say 1.5 million people. Major Terrell Johnson, a liar and a perjurer, caused you to get killed. Took the leading trooper off the road. He's not out arresting drunk drivers. He's getting your money, your tax money. He's living high on the hog, lying for the state. That's what they do. This is a fact. This is their record. He swore to tell the truth and lied. Right there, that's a lie. Me and him never sat down and watched that video. And I can prove it. I can prove it. Because there is a record, but the record shows what I'm saying. Because he did ask questions about the video. If you get this. So he's lying. But it's on what is on the record. What is on the record shows that me and him did not sit down and watch the video. Because when you lie, there's tracks. And somebody like me will find those tracks, Terrell. How you doing, you dirty liars? It's causing people to get killed. 45% more deaths on Tennessee highways because you lied on me while I was out risking my life. I was out on the road, and you sit in your little office and lie. What a disgusting, despicable individual you are, you stupid, dirty creep. I mean, really? I mean, yeah, I hope you don't get hit by a drunk driver that you caused to be out here like your buddy Major Heatherly did. I mean, y'all even endangering your stupid selves. So that's what he says. He says that. And I will add for the record, it is common practice that when we show a video, we're not really on the record. We're just looking at the video, and that has been common practice several times when myself and another employee that was interviewing video, and then we'll just move on. So it may be documented in here that we watched it. No, it's not, because we didn't. That's a lie. Who else in the room with you when you watched the video with Mr. Morgan? Sergeant Ron Cockwell and Captain Victor Donahue. No, they weren't, because we didn't watch the video. Because we didn't watch the video. They're lying. They're lying to you. So he says, Your Honor, may I interrupt, please? Maybe we can move on a little bit faster. If you look on page 39, I think, and look at it. So she's trying to say in the record that it shows me and him watched it. I'll let you, as in any relevant questions that you want to. But what I'm concerned about is you seem very ill prepared to ask him questions about this interview, and what you're doing is continue to hammer him and ask him some more questions over and over. He gives you the same answer over and over, but you are not accepting it. You're not moving on to the next question. Mr. Parks, with all due respect, Your Honor, I am ill prepared. I have never in any document, in any deposition of it, never had of this meeting prior to the interview they watched the video. And so you're right. I am ill prepared because this is absolute news to everyone. I would submit, court, if you look through your client's statement in this interview, there's several places through here he's referenced to seeing something on the video. True. So obviously I watched the video at some point, but he says I watched it with him. And there's a number of factors that go into that, what he says, what the video shows, what the media did when they got hold of it, and all things go into it to make a decision. But what the sergeant did, all he can do is tell you basically that this is the statement that he gave. The statement is here. I can't see why the line of questioning should continue going on further. Why don't you just explain that to me? We'll go from there. Mr. Parks, if Sergeant Johnson says that he is the finder of fact, it's his testimony that then he sends up the chain, and he doesn't, and through my questions, his investigation is substandard. I think that affects the weight of that he sends up. Did I explain that correctly? My critique is of his investigation, the fact that he just came up with that did not happen. Court, his testimony about the investigation is, and I understand it, he looked at the video, he took a statement. So no, he didn't. From your client, he put that information together, sent it up the chain of command. What is substandard about that? Well, you want me to argue that? Yeah, tell me, because I have trouble figuring out where you're going with this line of questioning. Mr. Park, the line of questioning is that he makes a very critical statement that he sat down with my client and watched the video. My client says that he did not. True. So that is not true. So to the extent that his investigation is substandard, something that is critical, he doesn't record that. That's not reflected in any document or deposition in this case that has been going on for years. That is substandard. Court, I have to ask you, what difference does it make if they watched the video together, if they watched it separately? Do you know at some point they both watched the video? In this case, okay, the difference it makes is because he said that I admitted that the car was on fire, that it wasn't on the record. I didn't admit that. I have to ask you, what difference does it make if they watched the video together, if they watched it separately? You know, at some point they both watched the video. Conversation about it is in this document. And the difference in my mind, Judge, is that Sergeant Johnson, it should be clear that Mr. Morgan, that car was on fire. First of all, that's going to be contradictory to facts in the case, but it's important that he continued to tell Mr. Morgan the car's on fire. The car's on fire, the car's on fire. Well, Mr. Morgan continues to say it wasn't. So now we're left, all of a sudden today, we're left with the first time that there's an admission from Mr. Morgan that says, yes, in fact, the car was on fire. Court, okay, to me that is significant. If the court doesn't appear in this statement, it won't be considered by me. Fair enough. Sergeant, do you know Miss Darling? Have you ever heard of that? She said the car was on fire. So a witness at the scene says the car wasn't on fire. So Miss Johnson says that me and him sat down and watched the video. And her statement does from her view. So it may have been or may not have been. Just I know I read it before. I don't know if I had access to interview because it works on. So they have to complete the preliminary and get it signed off by the chain of command. So I don't know what I read her report prior to the interview. Was her statement taken that the car was not in fact on fire? So this is Miss Darling. It, for a period of time, does not corroborate Mr. Morgan's. So was her statement the car was not on fire, in fact on fire for a period of time, does that not corroborate Mr. Morgan's version that it was not on fire? Her statement does, yes, from her viewpoint. So Mr. Johnson is saying, excuse me, Mr. Major Terrell Johnson, who got promoted for line, these people get promoted for mistreatment, is saying that me and him sat down and watched a video together. He's trying to get me, trying to get a lie, and he's saying under oath, lying under oath, black and white, that me and him, when I went to Nashville, that me and him sat down and watched the video. That it wasn't on recording. He's explaining why it's not in the record. It's in the record, contrary to what he's saying, because of the questions, because he left the track. He's trying to say that me and him sat down and watched the video. Me and him didn't sit down and watch the video. He's trying to say when me and him sat down and watched the video, this is why he's trying to say that I agreed with him. That's not on the record. I made an admission, not on the record. Of course, you made an admission to kill the guy, not on the record. That's what they'll do to you. He signed he wanted a lawyer, but before he signed he wanted a lawyer, what we didn't record was him admitting he was guilty. I mean, that's literally what they're doing, telling the jury that under oath. They'll do that to you. Here's in black and white him doing that. He's saying he admitted, although not on the record, it's not on the record because it didn't happen, of course. And he's saying while what wasn't on the record, I made an admission. Oh, I did. I made an admission that the car's on fire, that I should have seen it. Even though I didn't make that admission to him, we never watched the video. Even though an eyewitness on the scene that called 911 looked out her bedroom window and couldn't see anything. The car was not on fire. She literally says that. She didn't see it till all of a sudden later, after she was watching it for a period of time, then it caught on fire. I'd already passed it. So the car, when I passed it, was not on fire. If it was, it wasn't where I could see it. So you can't definitively say that the car was on fire. But he was saying that I admitted that we watched the video. When we watched the video, a lie that I admitted, something that I never admitted to that's not true, because it's a material fact how bright that car was. So he's lying about that. And he's saying it's not on the record because he didn't record that part conveniently. I mean, explain away under oath, lying, just spinning a narrative. Well, he's swearing to tell the truth. So he's lying. And the judge says, you can't continue to ask him about that because his lie doesn't matter. Even though his lie is a material fact, my attorney explained, but as your judges in Tennessee aren't on the side of unbiased truth. And these are judges that take your property away. They'll come and get your house, and you'll say that I wasn't selling drugs, and they'll say the officer said you was. You admitted to selling drugs, but I asked for attorney. It was before you asked for attorney. It wasn't on the record. That's because we weren't really keeping the record then. They'll just lie out their ass. I mean, they'll lie. You don't think they're in danger? Go to your house and see if it's still there next week when they want it. And you say, well, I got a right to a fair judicial system. You won't get one in Tennessee. I'm showing you right here, black and white. They want your property, they got it. They got to lie to get it, they'll get it. So here's what it says in the record. Here's what the record shows. See, he said it wasn't in the record, but it is in the record. It is very much in the record. It's just not in the record the way he wants it to be, because the record that was made disproves exactly what he's trying to say, that we never sat down and watched the video. So here's a fact. He says that we sat down and watched the video. While we sat down and watched the video, I admitted, I made an admission. It's not on the record. Of course it's not, because I didn't admit that. Before we went on the record, I made an admission. We watched the video, I made an admission. Of course it's for the record. But here's what the record clearly shows. Look at this right here. Here's what the record clearly shows. The record clearly shows what he's saying is a lie. He says this on the record. There's a start date and an end date. He asked me in the record, he says here, how many times have you looked at the video? How many times have you looked at the video? He asked me how many times I looked at the video. Now, he asked me, he says me and him just sat down and watched it in testimony. On the day of the interview, he asked me in the record how many times I sat down and watched the video. I would have said, well, me and you just watched it. Remember? Because that's what he said in it is, me and you just watched it. Did I say that? He said, how many times you watched the video? See, he forgot about asking me that question, because under oath, he said, me and him sat down and watched the video. So how many times you watched the video? I didn't say, me and you just watched it, remember? I didn't say the time me and you just watched it. Here's what I said in depositions. I said, I think we looked at it one time and then one time in slow motion. Okay, well, what do you think slow motion? How much? Okay. So he's asking me, I didn't think I passed. I know I passed the wreck, but I didn't know that at the time. Had I known that, I would stop. That would have been better had I known at the time. I don't think it would have made any difference because of the impact, but I don't know that. At the time, I didn't see it. I seen it briefly, thinking that's not, trying to find, and then road narrow, and I thought this is useless, futile, terminate the pursuit. That was my thinking. Okay, you said you've watched the video. Yes, sir, I watched it several weeks ago. I didn't say me and you. You said you watched the video. See, you forgot about that being the record. Was it in your patrol car on TV? No, it was in my patrol car, and then I went back with the supervisor. I didn't do anything the supervisor told me to do. So he says that me and him just watched it. You said you watched the video. Yes, I watched it several weeks ago. I didn't say that I watched the video with him just then. So he's lying under oath. That's under oath. So the record does show that me and him did not watch the video. We watched it several weeks ago. And he asked me, so you said you watched the video. He didn't say, me and you just watched the video. He says, so you said, when did you watch the video? And I said, several weeks ago. And then under oath, he says that it wasn't in the record, but me and you just watched it. So you see the lies. You see the lies of these crooked people. in the Tennessee Highway Patrol, and it's a live material fact about me, about trying to incriminate me under oath about something I didn't do, the lies. And he got promoted to major for that. He's a major with Tennessee Highway Patrol for lying. And look at this right here. Okay. How many times have you looked at the video? How many times? He asked me in the record. Now he's saying before the record was turned on, the record's on now. He's saying before that, before he testified under oath. He said before that, this is a lie, state official. They'll lie on you too. They lie every day. The court will sanction it. The court got mad at my attorney for saying, wait a minute, they didn't watch the video. This is the first I've heard of that. He said me and him sat down and watched the video, and that I agreed that there's fire on the car. That didn't happen. He made that up. Then the record comes on, and in the record you can tell he's lying, because he says, how many times did you look at the video? I didn't say, well, me and you just watched it. That's what he said under oath. He said me and him just watched it. I didn't say me and you just watched it. Why would he ask that? How many times have you looked at the video? I looked at it one time, and then one time in slow motion. He didn't ask me. He didn't say me and you just watched it. And I told him that me and him watched it several weeks ago. Not just when he's trying to say that we watched it. So he's lying under oath. So he is lying under oath, and the interview was concluded at 13:58, and there's a date on there that it was started. So today is a very good day in the state of Tennessee. At 10 o'clock, coming up here in just a few minutes. Like, share, and comment. Let's get over 100 likes. Subscribe if you like the channel. And vote. And join the movement. Voters of Tennessee Enraged. This is Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News. I'm not controlled by the corporate news stations. And I'll tell you the truth about things. What we've covered today is the increase in your insurance, government working for themselves, not working for you. Congress has got to vote on that, or people are going to lose their insurance. And they should extend Obamacare until they can get insurance that's affordable and cut the middleman out. We talked about illegal immigration, how they need to deport these illegal people and stop them from voting us out of power. We talked about the news media, how both parties and the populace don't trust the news media. We talked about how they're selling a story against a police officer that defended himself. We talked about the freedom of speech in the state of Tennessee, the case with the professor at UT. Even though what she said is offensive, I believe she'll win that case. She's got a right to say disgusting stuff. I believe what she said was disgusting, but I believe in the First Amendment. We've talked about immigration enforcement in the news, and Knoxville police officers getting in trouble, maybe for enforcing immigration laws because of politicians want their votes. I talked about for 30 seconds about all the stuff I wanted to track, all the falsehoods I've told, and it was a blank page. Everything I say is true. And I talked about independent creators like us getting more attention and gaining more every day. And I want to thank y'all so very much for listening to Unbridled News and listening to the show. Hopefully soon, I don't know, we'll reach 2 million people soon. We'll go across the state and present news as it comes to you from an unbridled opinion, what we think about things. We'll probably be back on here tomorrow morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, to present the unbridled truth. Thank y'all so very much for listening to the show. And like, share, comment, spread the message. This is the channel the people in government power don't want you to hear. They don't want you to hear the truth. Afraid they might get voted out. Today is a very good day for justice in Tennessee. It's been a long time coming, but they're going to execute the perpetrator at 10 o'clock. And thank the Lord in heaven of a brutal murder of this lady here, Karen Pulley. And it's taken them 37 years. We talked about the death penalty. Colleen Slimmer's murder is still in jail, waiting execution. This is the victim here, the name that needs to be displayed, not the perpetrator. They don't deserve their name spread. They need to be wiped off the planet. Her murder needs to be executed. Talked about this is dirty, corrupt people in Tennessee power. And the Newsom and Christensen murders. Those people need to face justice. We have had an awesome amount of people watching the show today. Thank you all so very much. May God bless you all, and listening again. We'll have some more. We'll have another show tomorrow. We'll have another show tomorrow. Unbridled News. We'll tell you what the news media, what people in government power don't want you to hear. We ask you to join, vote, subscribe, like, and share. Let's get 3 more likes. We got 97 likes. Let's get all the way up over 100 likes. Let's read some of the comments, and I'll see what y'all got to say for yourselves. Some of them pretty nasty, and some of them are at 98, so we got 2 more likes. And we'll get over 100. I'll go down here to the bottom. If you got a question you want me to ask, you want me to answer, then I'll be glad to give you my take on it. It might not be what you're used to. It says you must have had to go. Okay. Yeah, that's about as nasty as you can get. No one likes you. God loves me. God loves you too. So I'm going to do the same thing with USA. Worst insurance company. That's right. Yeah, we need to vote these people out of office and stop their social welfare that keeps them in medical insurance and living to 90, and the average civilian living to they say 70, but I believe it's closer to about 45, 50, because they don't post the truth. So was timed out? Okay, let's see. Yes, brother. Thank y'all. Bill Lee. Bill Lee's a horse's ass. Let's see. 86,000 seconds. Okay, I don't know what that means. So yeah, up over 100. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And let's see what we got here. So if you got any questions, I'll try to ask them, try to answer them. I got some questions of my own. Some of you, I wonder what world you live in. So thank y'all so very much for showing up, watching the show. This is really taking off. The government doesn't want this message spread. So let's give people in government power. You actually are the government. We just got the wrong people in power. We're going to vote them out. So let's see if we got any questions. Liar, prisoner. Charles, respectfully, is your wife sick? Yes, she is. Very sick. Pray for Michelle. Pray for Michelle. And God answers prayer. She goes to church, and she has people, the elders of the church, just like in the Bible, anoint her with oil, which is a faith healing phenomenon that I believe in. And if you're sick, try that. Go to faith healers, not like Benny Hinn who wants money. But go to the elders of the church and ask them to anoint you with oil. And also go to the doctor. But if you go to what's for lunch, I don't know, you're going to buy, so give me $2 for a cup of coffee in the chat app. So go to your church, ask for the elders of the church. If they want money, you go to another church. Ask for the elders of the church to anoint you with oil, and God will heal the sick. God heals the sick through being anointed with oil. So I believe in faith healing. I believe in going to the doctor, do what the doctor tells you to do, but also go to the church and ask the elders of the church to help you and anoint you with oil. So let's look at the beautiful view of the Tennessee River. Here on Tennessee Chapman Highway. Hello, Stone Gammer, whatever. So here's a beautiful view of the river. Hello. So thank y'all for coming. God bless you all, I pray. And like, subscribe, comment. Let's see, did you take your meds today? Yeah, I take medicine. I take blood pressure medicine. I take thyroid medicine. I try to take care of myself the best I can. No, you forgot. Yeah. Charles Van Morgan, a former Tennessee Highway Patrol trooper and perennial political candidate, has several notable convictions, primarily for drug-related offenses. That's not true. I don't know where you read that at, but you got some bad data. I've never been convicted of any crime. That'd be some bad data. That'd be defamation. So false communication. So there's the beautiful view in Knoxville. We'll stay on here and get our views up. Let's get some more likes and subscribes. So this is Charles Van Morgan Show, live on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. Remember, 10 o'clock. Remember, justice is served. They're going to execute a man that committed a brutal rape and murder of Karen Pulley. So it's a good day. Long time in coming. If I ever got public power, it'd take them 5 years. So remember me tomorrow. Come on board, Unbridled News. You'll hear stuff you never thought you'd ever hear against people in government power. Let's see if we can answer a few more questions, and we'll get the heck off here. I hate to get off here. We got so many people. Thank you all for your, let's see, ice, baby. Let's see, Charles Van, yeah, that's a defamation, sir. That's not true. He has never been convicted of any crimes. Look it up. That's right. James Townsend C41. That's exactly right. I never have been. Thank you. So I got some supporters. Says Charles, and I'm somebody, I guess, that nobody's like yourself that don't. Your name is a lot. You represent yourself as a stone gamer. How many people got their DUI charges removed after you was fired? A bunch of them did. And I didn't do it. They did. Let's go, Trump. I voted for Trump 3 times. Sure did. A lot of people don't like that. So I supported Mr. Trump because of his the core values that he has. Is why I voted for him. I vote for my core values. Anybody that supports abortion on demand of innocent children, I'm not going to support them, even if they have other values that I like. So that's what I think. That's my core value. So thank y'all so very much. God bless you all. And remember, as I always say, God loves you and I do too.